point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
To help you understand how dangerous narcotics operations have persisted despite decades of bold efforts to completely mishandle the problem, we now present The Onion Explained, the drug trade. The cartels remain as powerful as ever. Experts say that the only solution is to eliminate the demand for illegal drugs by instead getting buzzed on common household products, like cough syrup. Not only do items such as nail polish remover and model glue get you ripped if you really breathe that in, they also help shrink the market for cartel drugs. Cartels would stand to lose billions if even a third of the people using their cocaine or methamphetamine instead huffed Freon, which will knock you right on your ass just as quickly. It's easy to get by cracking open an air conditioner. If enough people realize that keyboard cleaner will put you in a insane trance and that it's just sitting there right now in your desk drawer, the costly war on drugs could very well end tomorrow.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and bring up whatever is on your mind. The number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username is LRN.FM. Of course, you can bring up whatever is on your mind. That is the point here on Free Talk Live. Some interesting stuff in the news here tonight. And by the way, joining you in the studio, it's me, Ian.
And me, Johnson.
So over the last few days, I had mentioned a story about senior citizens and bullying, and we still haven't gotten to that yet. But
your face is wrinkled.
It's amazing. You would think that people had outgrown this.
Right.
You know, like this. When you think of bullying, you think, elementary, middle, high school, and that's about it. And apparently it's still going on into some people in their 80s and 70s and 90s in nursing homes and senior centers across the United States.
They're doing the bullying or they're being bullied?
Both. According to the Associated Press at the San Francisco Chronicle, the unwanted were turned away from cafeteria tables. Fistfights broke out at karaoke. Dances became breeding grounds for gossip and cruelty. It became clear that this place had a bullying problem on its hands. What many found surprising was that the perpetrators and victims alike were all senior citizens. Nursing homes, senior centers, and housing complexes for the elderly have introduced programs, training, and policies aimed at curbing spates of bullying, an issue once thought to be the exclusive domain of the young. Betsy Gran, who until recently was the assistant director at San Francisco's 30th Street Senior Center, says, quote, "There's the clique system, just like everywhere else." You remember cliques from high school?
Right.
Where there was I remember when I was in high school, there was the jocks, the goth kids.
Yeah, how do they organize themselves as seniors?
As seniors, good question.
Maud wears pearls. I'm going to hang out with her.
She says it's like Mean Girls, but everyone is 80. After the cafeteria exiles and karaoke brouhahas, the 30th Street Center teamed up with a local nonprofit, the Institute on Aging, to develop an anti-bullying program. All staff members received 18 hours of training that include lessons on what constitutes bullying, causes of the problem, and how to manage those conflicts. Seniors were then invited to similar classes held in English and Spanish, teaching them to alert staff or intervene themselves if they witness bullying. Signs and even placemats around the center now declare it a bully-free zone. Mary Murphy, who's 86, a retired real estate agent, she took the classes. She said, quote, "I think in the past I would have just stayed out of it. Now I might be inclined to help," she says.
I wonder if the odds of having a biblical name go up, at what level they go up depending on age.
As far as how old the person is?
Yeah, like Mary and Joseph and,
I don't know, but there's definitely those older names that you don't hear very often, like Martha.
Betty.
Yeah. Well, Betty you might get some young Bettys these days, but
I don't
probably not.
think so,
Yeah.
no.
Mildred, how about Mildred?
Mildred, sure.
Yeah.
Gertrude.
That's another one for sure. For sure. So if you've got some oldster names, although I notice we're thinking of only female names. Are there
My grandmother's name was Paulina.
Okay.
So that's another one.
But are there male names that are not really utilized anymore? Because we just came up with a bunch of female names. But
it's true.
Like Tom, Dick, Harry, these are all names that are still used today.
I don't think Richard's as common anymore.
Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think of a few Richards that I know from our generation.
A few, but I don't think it's as
Maybe
common
not
as it
common.
once was.
It could be true. If you want to comment on that, you're certainly welcome to do so. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. Robin Boniface, social work professor at Arizona State University and author of the book Bullying Among Older Adults, How to Recognize and Address an Unseen Epidemic, said existing studies suggest about 1 in 5 seniors encounters bullying. That seems like a fairly high number, 1 out of 5. And I wonder what the number of, elementary or middle schoolers are that encounter bullying. Is it concomitant? Is it about the same level? She sees it as an outgrowth of frustrations, characteristic in communal settings, as well as a reflection of issues unique to getting older. Many elderly see their independence and sense of control disappearing, and for some, being a bully can feel like regaining some of that lost power. She says it makes them feel very out of control, and the way they sort of get on top of things and make their name in this new world is intimidating, picking on people, and gossiping, unquote. There's far less recognition of bullying as a problem among seniors compared with young people. Even among those who've been called bullies, many are unaware of how problematic their behavior is until it's labeled. Campaigns around the country have sought to spread the word, including a booklet circulated last year by the National Center for Assisted Living. Catherine Arnold said, quote, "In the life cycle, it doesn't go away." She's a member of the City Human Rights Commission in St. Louis Park.
Arnold being a name you don't hear very often anymore, his first name.
Sure, that was her last name, though, in that case.
Sure.
Which created public service announcement on its community access station that included a portrayal of a man who was excluded from a card game and became the subject of gossip by other seniors. Quote, "There's really not a lot of escape." Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of like when you're at a government school, right? Like if you're being forced to go to a government school, as most young people are, unless their parents happen to be able to afford to educate from home or send to a private school. And of course, private schools are not necessarily a safe place from bullying either, from what I understand. But if you are forced to go to a government school, you really don't have any other options. And that means that you are forced to go and face these bullies down every single day, because in a lot of cases, the schools don't do a whole lot to be aware of or stop bullying, or they'll punish both parties. I remember they were putting those rules into effect right when I was getting, I think close to when I was leaving high school. The rules started to become, if there was any kind of conflict between two people, a physical conflict, they would just go ahead and suspend both parties.
Right.
It didn't matter.
No matter who started it.
Right. It didn't matter if you got hit by somebody.
So once you get bullied, the school continues to bully you.
Correct.
Right.
And so,
well, I mean, they're teaching you what it's going to be like in real life.
In real life,
when someone hurts you and you have to go to, hire a lawyer and you get screwed again, and then you go to court and then you pay those fees and you get screwed again.
And in this case, you've got senior citizens who are, if you're at a nursing home, you've probably been put there to some extent against your will, right? Because I mean, some people check themselves into nursing homes, but not everybody. There's certainly some elderly folks out there who've had their families basically force them into a nursing home because they're not able to fully take care of themselves, or maybe they're getting some dementia or Alzheimer's, and there's concerns that they may not be able to, kind of handle their life. And so now you've been thrust into a place where if there's a bully on the premises, then you can't really get away from that. And of course, that ignoring the other issue of sometimes in these nursing homes, the staff members themselves are the ones that are doing the abusing, like actual physical abuse to the patients. Most senior bullying isn't physical, but it does involve name-calling, rumors, and exclusion, said a longtime school teacher who now runs a Pittsburgh-based consultancy offering training on bullying. Women constitute the bulk of the bullies that she encounters among seniors. A reflection of lifespan disparities and the gender makeup of those who live at or participate in programs at senior facilities. So that's kind of a surprise. I mean, I guess, I didn't grow up a girl, so I don't know how bad, mean. I saw the movie Mean Girls. Wasn't that the one with Lindsay Lohan in it? Yeah, I remember seeing that. So, I mean, obviously there's definitely girls that get picked on in school, but...
Stop trying to make fetch work, Betty. It's not going to work.
Fetch?
Yeah, fetch.
Is that a line from the movie?
Yes, it is.
It's been way too long. I only saw it once.
It's an ad hoc line from the movie.
Contouras' business began with a focus on school bullying, but now centers exclusively on seniors. In the next month alone, they've got more money, right? Like the seniors can afford to pay her, whereas kids at school probably not so much. She has more than a dozen training sessions planned in the next month alone. After 4 years immersed in the wrath of older bullies, Contouras has heard all manner of stories. At a senior high-rise, a woman who saw herself as the queen of the parking garage would key the cars of those who crossed her. Elsewhere, laundry rooms became vicious places where the bullied had their detergent stolen and their clothes thrown on the floor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, man. This woman would key your car if she didn't like you. Bingo rooms so often devolved into battlefields, with lucky newcomers badgered and accused of cheating by veteran players. She came to call it the devil's game. Contouras said, quote, "I didn't realize it was an underground society where people could be mean to each other," unquote. In the worst cases, bullying goes far beyond bingo squabbles. Marcia Wetzel moved into a senior apartment complex in Niles, Illinois after her partner of 30 years died, and her partner's family evicted her from the home that the couple shared. At the Glen St. Andrew Living Community, she said she was met with relentless bullying by residents, mostly focused on her being a lesbian. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. You can join us. Bring up what you want. Free Talk Live. Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
Posting your job opening to an online job search site is like drinking from a fire hose. You get more resumes than you know what to do with. Robert Half is the better way to hire. Our candidates are interviewed and custom matched to your exact hiring requirements. Quickly, satisfaction guaranteed. So what you need is just what you'll get. Robert Half, the experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Learn more at roberthalf.com/radio.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Blink home security system, they're back on here with Free Talk Live with an even better offer for you, which is to say 15% off their already low prices. You can get 3 Blink cams for what way less than the other guys out there, and get the 15% off by using this URL. It's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL. It's all set up wirelessly. The cams are wireless, so you don't have to deal with drilling holes, running wires, all the hassles of installing security systems if you've ever been involved in it, unless you really enjoy doing, work around the house and being handy. You probably want to hire a professional to do it. In the case of the Blink system, you don't have to do that. You just place the cameras wherever you want them because they're wireless. They're battery operated. They even come with the batteries that you need, and I believe they were AA's if I recall correctly. Pretty standard stuff. So you get the system. It's super affordable. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL to get yours at 15% off. They're motion activated, and it will send you a notice on your smartphone whenever it sees something during the time frames that you specify it to be operating. So once again, that's blinkprotect.com/FTL. Like Free Talk Live. As we continue here, we're talking about the bullying that's been going on in senior centers, in apartment complexes for older folks, in nursing homes, places where seniors are living and apparently picking on one another. Maybe they need some Blink cams to monitor the goings on, because they Blink cams do actually have audio as well, which is pretty cool. And we're sharing a story from the San Francisco Chronicle and the AP, giving some examples of just how bad it is. They say that 1 out of 5 seniors is subject to bullying. And the suggested reason is because basically the people who are doing the bullying, they say, are, they're ending their life soon. They are feeling less empowered as far as they can't do as much as they once were able to do. And so one way for them to show how powerful they still are is to pick on people. And so bullying is a thing. In fact, they say most of the cases are with women bullying other women. They gave an example of Marcia Wetzel, who moved into a senior apartment complex where she was relentlessly bullied by other residents who were focused on her being a lesbian. One man hit her scooter with his walker and unleashed a barrage of homophobic slurs. A woman rammed her wheelchair into Wetzel's table in the dining room and knocked it over, warning, quote, "Homosexuals will burn in hell."
Wow.
Unquote. In the mailroom, someone knocked her in the head, and in an elevator, she was spit on. Wetzel says, "I just go into my room and barricade my door and just pray." She's now 70 and living at a senior complex in Chicago, saying, quote, "I just felt like a slug, like I was nothing, like I wasn't even human." Unquote. And can you imagine? I mean, that's the place where you're living? I mean, it's one thing when you're at school as a kid, and at the very least you get to come home to your family, who hopefully won't be physically abusing you. But in this case, pretty scary stuff. Lambda Legal, which defends LGBTQ rights, took on her case and sued the housing complex, alleging Fair Housing Act violations. However, a federal judge dismissed the suit last year. I mean, after all, how could it be the apartment complex's fault? I mean, it would seem like there's not really much of a standing there, because they don't know what's going on in their apartment complex. I mean, if one person who's got an apartment has a conflict with the other, then
unless it's some sort of a assisted care facility or something like that,
it's not clear.
Supposed to be knowing what's going on.
I mean, it's described as a senior apartment complex, so it doesn't sound like assisted care, but maybe it is.
Maybe I don't know.
I mean, certainly if it is an assisted care facility, then I would say they have more skin in the game and should be doing something about that, and at the very least investigating the claims. And the appeals court decision is pending. Ms. Wetzel said she had seen such bullying throughout her life. She had dropped out of high school when she became a punching bag for the girls who learned that she was a lesbian. As a senior, she said it felt even more traumatic and the bullies even more vicious. She had a view of a cemetery from her window and would stare at it, thinking maybe only when she arrived there would she find peace. She said, "I felt like a person in a pool of piranhas." If you want to comment, maybe you were involved in bullying as either the victim or the bully, and you want to comment on just bullying in general, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I've been on both sides of it, Johnson, and I'm not proud of that, but I was bullied when I was in school, and I did some bullying while I was in school, which isn't really a surprise because that's the cycle of violence, right? Where somebody gets violence used against them, and in a lot of cases, they'll turn right around and they'll find somebody that they can pick on.
So who were your targets?
It was mostly younger kids on the school bus.
Just random younger kids?
I wasn't beating anybody up, but
Right.
I was mean.
Right.
I was mean to those people.
I was just wondering if you had like a particular like group that you targeted. Just younger kids. You're young. Why are you so young, you youngin'?
I don't know. That would have been it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't remember the things that I said to them, but not being very nice. And there were some in the same age range.
So you're like the
on
reverse of the older people bullying. You're targeting people because they're young.
Well, I don't think that the bullies are. I mean, maybe they're picking on each other because they're old, but I think they're probably just being mean for other reasons. In these cases,
in one case because the woman was
a lesbian.
Yeah. So yeah.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And who knows, maybe you've got World War II veterans picking on the Korean War veterans. I mean, who knows what kind of petty things.
Your war was stupid.
Right. So if you want to comment, you can join us here on bullying.
You didn't actually fight for freedom. I did.
I did, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If you, if you've experienced any of this and you want to jump in here, you're welcome to do that. In other news, we do have real-life bullies on a big scale to talk about, where North Korea has apparently canceled their talks with South Korea and are now threatening to call off the U.S. talks with Donald Trump. So after all of the overtures that have been made over the last month, where Kim Jong-un and the South Korean president held hands and crossed borders together, where the North Koreans and South Koreans have dismantled and stopped the broadcasts of the audio over their border, the DMZ, where the 3 American prisoners were recently released. I mean, we've seen some really positive developments. Now the North Korean state has canceled their summit with South Korea, according to RT.com, and has threatened to call off the summit. So it hasn't been called off yet, but they're threatening to call off the summit between President Donald Trump from the U.S. and Kim Jong-un over American military drills with South Korea, according to South Korean media reports. Pyongyang has canceled talks with Seoul due to ongoing what they call Max Thunder military exercises. Right. Now, this is the name from the South Korean and U.S. military who do these exercises regularly, and the North Koreans are saying that these exercises are just a rehearsal for invasion of North Korea and a provocation amid warming inter-Korean ties. So basically, the North Koreans are saying, hey, we're doing all this peace stuff, and here you guys are doing military operations right near the border. So you can understand why they're coming from that perspective. It does seem like provocation to have militaristic things happening near the border, or at all when peace talks are right around the corner. So that's the latest there. More coming up. You can join us here, 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us on the radio. Here are numbers 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username is lrn.fm. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. You want to get the latest news headlines in the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, just go to news.bitcoin.com. They've got them updated at least every day, if not a few times a day. In fact, top stories over there include the Bitcoin Cash upgrade milestone today. This was in the news in the world of cryptocurrency, and that is that Bitcoin Cash, which is the major competitor to Bitcoin Core, aka BTC or Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash has now gone up to a 32 megabyte block size. And this was after it originally launched back in August of last year with an 8 megabyte block size. And for comparison's sake, for those unfamiliar, the original Bitcoin, BTC, it's only got a 1 megabyte block size. And the block size has to do with the amount of transactions per second or per minute that the Bitcoin network can handle. And basically, Bitcoin, BTC was full. Their network was completely full in 2017, and that was resulting in the blocks were full. So what was happening was people who wanted to get a Bitcoin transaction through were bidding up one another, because every time you send a Bitcoin transaction, you have to send a fee to the network's miners to make sure that your transaction gets processed. And if your fee wasn't high enough back in 2017, you weren't even getting processed at all. There was a couple that I sent back in December when things were like at their worst. It had gone up to like $15, $20 per Bitcoin transaction. Now, by comparison, back when you and I started in Bitcoin, Johnson, it was like a fraction of a cent.
Right, yeah, fraction of 1 penny.
Right, it wouldn't have even amounted to a penny or 2 pennies for most Bitcoin transactions. But in 2017, it just started going up and up and up and up. And that was one of the reasons why Bitcoin Cash became a thing. It split off. It what they call hard forked off of the original Bitcoin and created 2 competing Bitcoins. And ever since then, there's been like dozens more of these forks. And now there's dozens of different cryptocurrencies calling themselves Bitcoin something or other, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin, you fill in the blank.
Right.
There's been a lot of them. It's hard to even keep track of them all. Some of them have come to fruition to little fanfare, worth very, very little. Others haven't even come to fruition. They've just been in the idea stage and have never really done anything at all. But Bitcoin Cash was first to split, and so therefore it has some significant value. It's currently the number 4 cryptocurrency when you rank by market cap, and that's the total value of all that particular cryptocurrency globally at any given moment. It is number 4 after Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple. Ethereum's not really a currency. I mean, it can be used as a currency, but for the most part, it's like a programming platform, like a decentralized programming platform. And then Ripple is like a banker's crypto. So Ripple's not really used as a currency either. You can't go into downtown Keene and buy a hamburger with Ripple. That's just not something. It's not marketed for that purpose. So really, you've got Bitcoin, and then if you disqualify Ethereum and Ripple as they're not really active as currencies, and then you got Bitcoin and then Bitcoin Cash, because Bitcoin Cash is number 4. And the argument for Bitcoin Cash is that it actually is usable as a currency because they increased the block size, which many people said was something they shouldn't do. But their currency is now, 2 cents or something like that as a result to send a transaction. Still, I think it would be nicer to see it be a 20th of a cent, but regardless, 2 cents. 2 cents is way better than 50 cents, is way better than $5. Or more, which is what Bitcoin was last year. Now BTC, Bitcoin Core, that has come down. The original Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, the fees have come down. So now it's like 50 cents to send a transaction instead of $5. But still, if you're buying a cup of coffee, and a cup of coffee is normally going to run you $1 or $2, depending on where you go, 50 cents is a significant portion of that price. Meaning that if it's a $2 cup of coffee and you pay with the Bitcoin, BTC, then you've paid $2.50 for that cup of coffee. Whereas if you're paying with Bitcoin Cash, it might be $2.02 or something like that. So that's what they did today. Was they upgraded to 32 megabytes and they added a few new features to Bitcoin Cash as well. Is that going to matter? Not anytime soon. Bitcoin Cash wasn't even near hitting 8 megabytes on even an irregular basis. So they didn't really need to do this upgrade, but I guess the plan with Bitcoin Cash is to do a network upgrade like this every 6 months to add new features to it. And so this was one of the things they figured they would do. So that's one of the headlines over there at news.bitcoin.com. Hop on in and see what else is going on in the world of Bitcoin. Once again, that's news.bitcoin.com. We're going to change gears. Johnson, you had a story that you wanted to share with us tonight about the police state.
That's right. So apparently they want to turn them into a protected class. So
aren't they already? I mean, don't you get special crimes if you attack a cop?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel like they're already a protected class, but apparently they don't. And
they get armored personnel carriers and MRAPs and everything.
Yeah, they seem very, very protected. But on today, Congress introduced the Protect and Serve Act. Legislation created to address violence against the police. The House of Representatives and the Senate introduced their individual versions of the bill, which, with the Senate version designating violence against police as a federal hate crime.
Oh, boy.
The House version of the bill makes it a crime to knowingly cause or attempt to cause serious bodily injury to a law enforcement officer. The crime is punishable by 10 years in prison.
A federal offense.
Yeah.
Wow.
If the crime results in the death of a law enforcement officer, or the crime involves kidnapping or the attempt to kidnap or kill a law enforcement officer, then the sentence can be up to life in prison.
My God.
The Senate version was introduced by Senators Orrin Hatch of Utah.
Is he still in there?
Yep.
I thought he died.
If only.
God.
And Heidi Heitkamp, a Democrat from North Dakota, using language that mirrors the language used in hate crime laws aimed at protecting marginalized groups. The bill would make it
they're so marginalized.
Yeah, I know, right?
The poor police getting all that government money and all the benefits, being able to retire after 20 years with 90% of their yearly salary coming to them, year after year after year.
For doing nothing.
Yeah. Oh, the poor things. In fact, they're not even one of the top most dangerous jobs. They're not even in the top 10. I mean, the roofers die more often on the job.
And if you're a roofer, you get to pay the police a salary to sit around for half their life doing nothing.
Right. And there's plenty of roofers who've been arrested by the cops for, possession of alcohol or marijuana or whatever.
So, let me see, where was I? To knowingly cause...
life in prison, 10 years.
So, the hate crime laws are aimed at protecting marginalized groups. The bill would make it a federal hate crime to knowingly cause bodily injury to any person or attempt to do so because of the actual or perceived status of because of the actual or perceived status of the person as a law enforcement officer.
So if you're in a bar fight with somebody, if you get into a fight with somebody at the bar and he tells you he's a cop beforehand, then it becomes a hate crime. Otherwise, you don't know, and so you're just, in a bar fight with somebody.
What if you just identify as a police officer?
If you are a police officer, or if you're falsely identifying?
No, not falsely identifying. What if you actually identify as a police officer? It's not falsely identifying if I identify as a police officer. You can't just assume. I mean, you may assume I'm legally not a police officer. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not actually my profession. But if I identify that way, who are you to tell me that I'm not?
Because you feel like a police officer.
I feel like a police officer, and therefore I should have this protected status because no one should have this.
We'll talk more about it coming up here, and the proposal at the federal level to protect so-called the police reminds me of the Blue Alert system. Do you hear about that, Johnson?
Like Kmart?
No. I'll tell you about that.
Blue light special?
It's much worse. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number, 855-450-3733. More about the special status of the cops coming up.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free and join us here. The number is 855-450. Free like freedom. 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype as well. So feel free to Skype in to us at Skype username LRN.FM. There's also the Discord on-air call-in line room, which you can join over at discord.lrn.fm. Just hop into the top chat room there, and there's only room for one person at a time in the Discord room. We'll then join it, and we will talk to you on the radio, and you'll sound better than if you're calling on the phone. If you don't know what our Discord is, it is a free chat service that is available to you 24/7. People are frequently in there before, during, and even after the show, talking about a variety of different things. Sometimes it's what we're discussing on the air, sometimes not related at all. So head on over there to discord.lrn.fm. That'll take you there. There's a web version of it. You can also download an app for your favorite device, whether it be Windows, Linux, Mac, or Android or iOS. It is up to you. Go to discord.lrn.fm. Johnson, you were telling us about the special status of the police. There's a proposed law in Congress that is going to make it a hate crime to do any kind of violence against the police.
The irony of Orrin Hatch, right? The anti-gay marriage senator from Utah.
Who wants to protect police from discrimination?
But he wants to have legislation creating a hate crime law. This guy
for the cops.
One of the originators of hate.
Right.
Just it's ridiculous.
Well,
anyway,
so the proposal here so far is what was it, up to 10 years or 10-year minimum? Was it for?
Punishable up to 10 years in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, if the crime results in the death of a law enforcement officer, or if the crime involves kidnapping or the attempt to kidnap or kill a law enforcement officer, then the sentence can be up to life.
Wow. Yeah. And is there more that you wanted to share from the story?
Sure. Calling for police accountability is not the same thing as waging a war against the police, but it is viewed as such by those who think that questioning the police about anything is wrong. Yep. There are those who believe that the police should be able to act with impunity, and they will back the belief that with legislation like the Protect and Serve Act.
Right.
The Senate version makes police a protected class, something that up until now was reserved for marginalized groups because crimes against them often went unacknowledged, uninvestigated, and unpunished.
As though that ever happens with the cops, right? If somebody attacks a cop and walks away from the scene somehow, they come down on them like, a thronging phalanx of, militarized attack force. I mean, there was a video that didn't even have to do with the police, but just to show how militarized they are and scary. Vincent, who's one of our sometime
I
co-hosts.
watched it today, actually,
Did you?
Ironically. Yeah, I watched it this morning.
It's video for listeners who have not seen it. You can go to freekeen.com. It's there at the top of the page. It's about a 7-minute video, but the first 2 minutes really show you the bulk of the sort of shock troop mentality with literally dozens of armed cops.
I wonder how long that guy who did that is getting sentenced to.
So what happened, for listeners who are unfamiliar?
If you don't actually do anything, you're just making this kind of a threat, right?
Well, the allegation was a man had shot a gun at a couple of people who were in his home as they were walking away or running or whatever, leaving the house. He was angry. They obviously had some kind of disagreement. I'm guessing it was over drugs, but they had some kind of a disagreement. He allegedly brandished a gun and fired it twice at these people. Supposedly not at them, but like maybe firing it into the ground or something like that, because they didn't get hit by him. And I don't think they've charged him with attempted murder. I think they were brandishing and discharging or something like that, or felon in possession was one of them because he was a felon already from some other incident. And he's relatively young. But anyway, the call to the police was, there's a man with a gun in his house. He's pointed it at people. Mm-hmm. And the cops responded with basically every single state cop in the region, or
what
perhaps...
I was thinking is maybe this is a really effective way of depleting the resources of the state. If there wasn't such high risk involved, you could just say, because if this guy isn't really going to get charged with anything, they just wasted a massive amount of money.
Oh, they wasted a massive amount of money. But
he might get charged with something, but it might not be that serious of an offense.
He's being hit with 3 different charges.
There's been activists who've gone to jail for much dumber things, right? This one, the things that some activists have gone to jail or done some time for have had far less costly responses to the state. Mm-hmm. This was at a huge cost to the state.
Just watch the video.
Yeah, and if they, in other words, if they spent all this money, but then there isn't really much of a result from it, in other words, they just blew a bunch of money for no reason, is essentially what happened here.
Got it to blow.
So if you could somehow manage to repeat this and make them do it over and over again, that would be
really
kind of
exhaust
amusing.
their resources, is what you're saying. Yeah. Well, thankfully it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, man, they do go all out and just totally overreact. I'm sorry, but a man with a gun in his home, allegedly, because they didn't know.
Well,
it
they're
was
cowards.
Just the reports.
These are cowards. These
the cops, you mean?
Yeah, they're they can't do this. There's somebody with a gun. They can't do anything but send 50 officers in.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't even send them in.
It's not
they
like
just sent
the
them
50s.
There.
It's not like the 50s where a cop would just show up and knock on the door and be like, "Is everything okay?" in here?"
That's what you would expect to happen, or at the very least, a minor response from just the local cops, even if they wanted to put on some flak jackets or something like that. I don't blame somebody for doing that. That makes sense. But to truck out a Bearcat, a mine-resistant armored personnel carrier, a bomb robot for some reason, the hell was that doing there? They had all these black trucks that looked really creepy. Don't know what those were for. They weren't labeled. They had, of course, every state trooper in the probably western New Hampshire. They definitely brought in cops from other areas. There was way more staties there than could have come from this particular region. Mm-hmm. So, they brought in as many agents as they possibly could for a guy in a house allegedly who waved a gun. It wasn't like he was holding someone hostage. It wasn't like, there was an active shooter. There was no actual violence going on there. And to the police's credit, they actually didn't hurt the guy when they took him out. They put a pepper spray something or other in there, and he left the house after the pepper spray thing went.
Probably messed up
because of the pepper spray.
Oh yeah,
that's probably true. I'm sure the landlord isn't very happy about that. Yeah. But regardless, they don't have a dead body on their hands in this particular case, so it could have been worse.
I don't know if you've covered this. That this is another ridiculous piece of legislation that's going on here in Keene. Is that the mayor wants to make it so that all the property owners in Keene are responsible for everything that their tenants do. Yeah,
that's come back again. It's been kicked around for a while now. Yeah. Is this back in the news locally?
It was not that long ago. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a terrible idea, and I can't imagine it would hold water legally. I just can't even imagine that.
Wouldn't stand up for very long.
So the proposal you've got here, they're talking about doing this at a national level, where if something happens to a cop, if it's a bar fight involving a normal person and a cop, then the federal government can get involved and bring like felony level charges against that person because cops are special, cops are sacred. I mean, we already have seen the police getting special treatment as far as their funerals are concerned.
Right.
Remember I forget where it was. There was like a train crash, and one of the victims of the train crash, or one of the dead, was a police officer, and he got, of course, the full-on police officer parade and everything and funeral, whereas everybody else was just sort of thrown into an unmarked grave. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but the cop got a way different treatment than all of the other people who all died in the exact same circumstance. The dude didn't do anything heroic. He died just like the rest of them.
I mean, the way I figured is if I were a white nationalist, I would just start trying to co-opt that thin blue line symbol because you get away with it. I mean, it's the one gang symbol that people can go around and display with complete impunity. Just make that the symbol of your particular branch of whatever, a white nationalist organization that you are.
Yeah, I wonder what the cops would do about that.
Yeah, because I mean, you can just get away. I mean, they're the only group that commits hate crimes that would be a protected class against hate crimes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I mean, how many cops are racists?
Many of them. We don't know how many, but they're out there.
Right.
For sure. I mean, just talk to some black people, and they'll tell you they've had some pretty intense encounters with these guys. Blue alerts. Johnson, you had not heard about this.
No.
The blue alert. You've heard about the amber alerts, right? Where, like, it's a missing child. Let's send out a notice via your cell phone or on the radio or whatever, right? So there's like a certain system that
So
they've
blue
set
alert
up
is
for
a
that.
missing cop?
A blue alert is any sort of a danger to local police that can go out over your phone. This story from December in The Verge.
So if you get a blue alert, it's time to have a small party.
The last week, well, if you're hanging out with Melanie, then maybe. Last week, while many of us were caught up by the internet, blah, 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 Pi began tearing up last Thursday when he talked about the families of, this is the FCC chairman, talked about the families of slain NYPD cops whose tragedy sparked the Blue Alert Act of 2015. And we'll tell you more about what that means, because apparently it's now a thing. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Were you born before the year 1956? If so, did you know you could be collecting between $575 and $2,200 in tax-free income right now? All thanks to the FHA. Or what about this? Did you know 54 U.S. congressmen have used a special tax-free account to earn up to 35 times more on their money? It's true, and you can do it too. These are just two of the secrets revealed inside a stunning new book from the Palm Beach Research Group and Ted Benna, the man behind the 401k. You'll discover the 18 best cash cows that can help you earn up to an extra $6,800 a month. Just go to 501kbook.com right now. If you're at or near retirement, this book is a must-read. You can get your own free copy. Shipping and handling charges apply. Just go to 501kbook.com right now while there are still copies left. That's 501kbook.com. 501kbook.com. Just go to 501kbook.com right now.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
U.S. U.S. presidents often take credit for solving complex issues with many moving parts, whether they deserve that credit or not. But how much impact can a sitting president really have on the tides? We all know that presidents like to take credit for the undulations of the briny deep, when it suits them, that is, and we Americans are quick to blame whoever is in power for the multitudinous seas. During Eisenhower's administration in the 1950s, citizens took to the streets to protest his inability to harness the unruly waves, but Ike shifted blame for the tides that year onto a heron that had recently been born with a raven's head. But the truth is, when a president is in office, there's only so much he can do. Sure, the president can bring an amulet with the Eye of Horus to the top of the tallest peak, or spread lamb's blood on the base of an elm tree during a lunar eclipse. In reality, it's hard for anyone to know with true certainty how the tides will play out under any administration. For The Onion, I'm Eliza Hayes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the second hour of the program. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Will net neutrality be coming back by an act of Congress? They're scheduled to vote on that tomorrow. We'll talk more about it coming up here in moments. The we tonight includes me, Ian.
And me, Johnson.
Johnson, you were just telling us about a ridiculous law that is in the proposal, the bill form at the moment. It has not passed yet. But given the worship that the government has towards its own police, and they should, they are, after all, their protection force, because remember, the police aren't there to protect and serve you. They're there to protect and serve their masters in the state. They're there to protect and serve the federal and state governments and local governments. And so no one should be surprised when special laws are put into place to protect the police. In this case, increasing penalties on things like simple assaults or murder for people who victimize police officers. And then we were just getting into telling you about the so-called blue alerts. You've heard about amber alerts for lost kids. Kidnapped children or whatever. You've heard of the alerts for like hurricanes and things like that. Well, now they're elevating the police to the level of a hurricane or a lost baby.
Right.
We'll tell you more about that here in a moment. But first, let's go to Bad Slave. He's on the line in New Hampshire on Skype. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Thanks, Ian and Johnson. Really happy you guys are there.
Thanks.
Anyway, you're welcome. What's going on is generally crime is dropping. Society is getting better at taking care of things. And I attribute it to better communication through things like the internet. I think that there's actually been a liberalization of gun laws. Even though there's been, all this battling around that in the recent, years of maybe the last decade or even a little bit longer than that, there's been, we have more of the constitutional carry. There are just many, many more options for defending yourself against real crime.
In some places. Obviously places like Chicago or Baltimore, not so much.
Well, and those are places that don't allow the liberal use of firearms, aren't they?
Correct.
And that corresponds. That
it seems to.
It sure does. It follows everywhere. There's basic, elimination of people's right to their own defense, which is a right to life, really. It's a right to life. If you can't use a decent tool to defend your life, you're a slave and you'll die. That's kind of the other side of the coin that people never look at. That's what happened in, the Mao and Stalin and
Are you insinuating
Hitler
that police aren't that decent tool?
Well, no, I'm just saying that. Well, number one, they are funded by theft, okay? So right out of the box, they're going to be corrupt. That's my claim. I'll stand by it. I'd love to have a debate with anybody against that claim. I say that if you're a cop and you use the threat of force to fund yourself, you are going to have an attitude that is not very conducive to, benefiting the people.
It's an entitlement mentality on top of that. They feel like they deserve it.
And so they have these new, it's a hate crime. Well, you know what? If you're going to use force to steal money to fund yourself, isn't that going to generate a little bit of anger? It does for me.
It does I think, for libertarians, but the average person probably doesn't even think about that when they think about their critiques of the police. Their critiques of the police are more basic of they can see, if they're, for instance, living in, non-gated neighborhoods or whatever, they can see the violence of the police against their own family members, against their friends, and those are, I think, even more legitimate critiques. But yes, from the perspective of the libertarian who does realize that taxation is extortion or theft, it's definitely even more offensive that not only are the police violent, but they're also forcing us all to pay for their violence.
And at the same time, they won't, all of a sudden realize, with crime going down, real crime going down, then, less of us will be needed. We should start looking for, other opportunities, but no, we're not going to do that. We're gonna, double down and go in and testify every time there's any kind of a cut in law enforcement or anything like that. There is all this going on, and now this federal law, which is patently unconstitutional, is just going to layer right on the top of all of that, and put people in.
It's frustrating. I can tell that you're angry. You're frustrated about this. You're talking about the law that Johnson had brought up, where it will be providing extra levels of criminal penalties to people who get involved in any kind of violent act with the police. And then you combine that with this idea of the blue alert system, where now your cell phone gets to receive notices, according to the FCC, which had been already in place in 28 states as of July 2017. But now the FCC order adds blue alerts to the standard national system transmitted through cable and satellite broadcast, radio stations, and wireline video outlets. So I guess it doesn't say cell phones here, but I imagine that's going to be coming soon. The local and national officials can already issue wireless emergency alerts on the national system under 3 categories: amber alerts, which is usually for like missing kids, presidential alerts that can only be issued by the president, and imminent threats. So now,
every one of those dilutes the necessity of any emergency alert. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just another one of those.
Too much noise, not enough signal. Thank you for the call, Bad Slave. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. What is the usefulness of a blue alert to the average person? My God, Jim, the local police officer, Johnny Boy, he's in trouble according to this blue alert. They're looking out for somebody who attacked him. Or, what is that?
Well, in reality, police are just as effective as average citizens, so... Right?
Yeah, but what is that supposed to do?
What's a cell 411 alert supposed to do?
Normally the police would tell you not to respond, to come out and do a vigilante thing, and they certainly probably would not.
So why would they want to be sending out alerts, giving people their, the whereabouts?
I don't know.
That this is going on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
they clearly have changed their minds. They've realized
they want the people's help.
They've been paying attention to cell 411, and they realized that we don't even have to do our jobs anymore,
we'll
and
just
we'll get
crowdsource
these cozy, these cushy pensions. We'll just have the citizens do it. We'll just send out blue alerts, and then we can just sit around eating donuts even more.
The blue alert system will ostensibly notify the public if police officers are threatened, missing, seriously injured, or killed. So, the idea that you'll need to have your evening television viewing, or as you're driving home listening to the radio, having that those tones come on. This is a test of the emergency alert system. It just breaks right into whatever it is that was on the air.
Usually, if there was a blue alert going down, or even multiples, probably something pretty big is going on, like a riot or something, where you might want to know about it.
Has anyone actually encountered a blue alert? I mean, they supposedly, but this was from December, this story I'm reading here, and here we are in May, so we're 6 months since this notice. Have these blue alerts been going out? Have you ever seen any of these things on television or heard them on the radio? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But whether they've come out or not, this is yet another indicator of how the police are being elevated to a special class of person in the United States, a special protected class. The toll-free number
change the color to brown
is 855-450-FREE, like brown shirts. 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Join us there. The Skype username, LRN.FM. We continue with more Free Talk Live coming up.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids. Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, join us on the radio, take control of the airwaves. Our number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
Forkfest 2018, it's right around the corner. We're about a month away from the second annual decentralized camping festival, meaning that there's no one in charge of this thing. And for some people, that might be a little bit frustrating. There was a conversation on the Forkfest forum recently about how are we going to know what things are happening when? Well, it's up to you guys to figure out how to do that. There was actually somebody who came up with a calendar, like a Google calendar, that he would allow anybody to edit. And so that's I think Daryl's the only person who's put something on it yet, so I'm not going to promote it on the website until at least a couple of things are on the calendar. But that would be one way of doing it. So there are sort of crowdsourced group collaboration methods of coming up with this sort of thing. And the idea behind being decentralized is to, well, let the market handle these things, if indeed there is enough of a demand for it, and if there are the people who are willing to fill that demand. It's still a small event. I don't know how many people are going to show up to this thing. Maybe last year, at last year's event, the very first one, there was maybe 24 people in the campground that were affiliated with it. And so I'm thinking it's definitely going to be bigger this year, just based on the number of people who've gotten involved in the unofficial Forkfest chat room and the people chatting on the forum. I'd say we're probably going to double last year's numbers, maybe even push towards 100. That's just a shot in the dark to some extent. There's only one way to really find out, and that's to attend and find out what it's like. But we are seeing names who I don't recognize show up in the chat room. Not that I know everybody, but I'm seeing a bunch of people who are coming in, and one guy said that he's coming specifically to attend Forkfest. He's not going to be attending the other event that follows it called the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which comes up right after Forkfest. Forkfest is June 14th through the 18th. It's happening at the beautiful Rogers Campground in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. It's absolutely splendid. The view is outstanding. It's a beautiful location. You definitely want to be there, if not, to see the splendor, but also to hang out with all the great liberty-minded folks, whether they be anarchists, voluntarists, or libertarians, however they define themselves. There's going to be a bunch of them there, and it's going to be an interesting event. And we don't know exactly what all is going to happen because not everybody's figured that out yet. Not everybody has decided they're going yet. But it looks like there are at least probably going to be a couple dozen folks that'll be attending, maybe even more than that. I mean, who knows? It might blow us out of the water with our expectations. It's hard to really say because there's no ticket sales. We can't really look at any kind of ticket sales because there's no tickets, there's no organizers. It's really all up to each individual attending what they want to do or not do as far as, do you want to create something for other people to attend, like a party or a speech or, a musical event?
Saw somebody today talking about DJ parties.
I heard about that. Yeah, that was in the chat room, right? People were talking about that. So if you want to hook up with those chat rooms or the forum, you can just go to forkfest.party. That's an unofficial website with links to the various different community resources that you can get involved in. In fact, Johnson, you just told me off the air you're looking at attending Forkfest this year. And you weren't there last year, correct?
Wait, did Forkfest happen last year?
Well, it was called Somalia Fest.
I didn't even like the name of it's like,
Forkfest is a better name.
Yeah, it's a much better name.
But it was still the same decentralized concept where nobody was in charge. So that's happening again this year, June 14th through the 18th. Again, 1 month away. It's Forkfest 2018. Go to forkfest.party, and that'll link you over to the forum, to the Telegram chat, and to a few other things there. So let's see. Let's go back to your calls and thoughts. Neil is on the line. He's in, I believe, California. Neil, you're on Free Talk Live via Skype.
Yes, guys, I have a couple of points to make, so please don't cut me off after the first one. This kill a cop, go to prison thing. I'm a big believer in law enforcement. I have a niece that's an LA County sheriff, and just randomly killing police or for no reason, I agree with. But what's
You agree
going-
with randomly killing police for no reason?
No, this randomly killing police officers for no reason. I don't. I said that wrong. I'm sorry,
Okay.
guys. Anyway, yes. But what about the police officers that are found to have killed citizens without justification? Are they going to be put to death too?
No, almost never are they found. Well, generally they're found to have been justified. So even if we would say it was unjustified what the police did, most of the time when they're investigated by their own cohorts, their own internal investigations find that they are completely by the whatever the book says, which basically means they can get away with murder in a lot of cases. So yeah, they very rarely suffer any kind of penalty for the over 1,000, I believe, police killings of people across the United States in basically over 1 year's time frame. Most of them get away with it.
I think I don't think that's right. If they're found guilty of unjustifiably killing,
They're not found guilty. That's the thing. They generally aren't even charged with anything. So they can essentially get away with murder. And there's very little that we can do about it, because if the cops won't charge their own cops, then we can't charge them.
Okay, and my other point is, I wish I could remember off the top of my head what state this is. They recently came out and said, if you legalize marijuana, we're going to have to euthanize all these police dogs. Now,
yeah, it was Illinois. We talked about it last night. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought that police dogs were duly deputized enforcement officers.
That's right.
And is that how Illinois is going to save tax dollars when cops are no longer useful anymore? They're just going to kill them?
No, they're going to not kill the human cops, but they are threatening to kill the dog cops.
If instead, let's send the dogs to homes, because they actually have a use as pets, right?
Right.
But the police, I mean, once they get rid of these drug laws, there's really no use for them. And, I mean, what, are we going to pay them pensions? Just euthanize them. Because, I mean, obviously they wanted to kill these innocent dogs, so let's just have them euthanize themselves, and then we won't have to pay those pensions, and everybody will be better off.
So you kind of hold some interesting viewpoints here, Neil. You said at the beginning of your call that you are pro-law enforcement, but you've been fairly critical of them during the call.
Oh, I'm very critical of bad cops. I hate bad cops. I love good cops.
Wouldn't it be a requirement of any good cop to have crossed the thin blue line? In other words, if they see bad behavior from a fellow police officer, that they report it and do something about it?
Absolutely. There is no...
Show me this unicorn that has ever done this ever.
My niece, which is an LA County sheriff out of Lakewood Station in Lakewood, California, she would turn in a bad cop in a heartbeat.
Would, but never has.
Hasn't,
magically.
Though. As though there are no bad cops in LA County.
Yeah.
she's never witnessed it yet.
I
but
see.
If she did, she would do it.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to believe.
Yeah.
But I suspect she's... how long has she been a cop? 2 days?
No, about almost 5 years now.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I'm going to go ahead and say that she's not telling you the truth.
Probably.
Not surprising.
Probably. And, to some extent, you can't blame people for being afraid, right? Like, if she's afraid that these bad cops are going to kidnap her child...
Let's just be honest. They're going to murder
her or kill her husband or something like that, then, there's a legitimate reason why they would... living in fear, not do anything about the bad cops. Hey, thanks for the call, Neil. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom.
The thin blue line is the reason why I dislike police. It's the primary, like 99% of why I don't like cops.
Right, that's basically their gang. Essentially,
they
gang
won't.
Symbol.
They are not moral people.
All right, more coming up here. 855-450-FREE like freedom, but they believe that they are. And
yeah, they
lots
sure
of them
do.
believe they're doing good. 855-450-3733, and sometimes they do the right thing, but anyway.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Get the ultimate knife at an ultimate price. The Fox Karambit knife. Finally available in the U.S. The Fox Karambit knife opens with one hand, faster than you can pull a handgun. For utility, for defense, and for way less than other knives of this caliber. Go to theultimateknife.com. Truly the best knife you will ever own, and only available at theultimateknife.com. Use promo code radio at checkout for free shipping. Get the ultimate knife at the ultimate price at theultimateknife.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is the first time I've heard your program. I'm hearing this person talk about what a wonderful thing it would be if we had legal drugs.
Yes,
I don't know
Sandy.
where you're getting your information from. I think you've lost your mind. I'm telling you. Oh, you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear reality.
I want to hear everything
you
you have
want
to
to hear
say.
reality. Okay,
Please,
well then,
knock me over
stop
with
acting
reality,
like
Sandy.
a 12-year-old. You know, I'm telling you what about the war on drugs. If you see people on drugs, you might change your mind.
Man, look, my wife works at a drug treatment center, lady.
Oh, good for her.
There you go.
Good for her.
Sandy, I've smoked copious amounts of marijuana.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that a bit. That's probably what's wrong with your brain.
I've been around plenty of people that have taken
You
drugs,
got a fact
Sandy.
for me, Sandy? One of them, fact?
I don't have statistics.
Sandy, we're not asking people to smoke marijuana. We're just saying, let's not make it illegal.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free here. Bring up whatever you want. Our number 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian
and Johnson.
Also, want to make sure you know about Zencash if you're into cryptocurrency and you're thinking about breaking out of just Bitcoin. That's probably where you started. Everybody kind of starts with Bitcoin, but there are a lot of other options out there, and Zencash is one of them. And why should you look at Zencash? Well, if you care about voluntarism, if you care about liberty, then the people who created Zencash also did. In fact, they wrote in voluntarism into their white paper on Zencash. But not only that, it's got privacy features. In fact, it's got some of the best technology out there. It's called zero knowledge anonymity. You can go and learn a lot more about Zencash on their website at zencash.com. So not only do they have private transactions, but there's also an equal opportunity that you have to participate in decision-making surrounding the currency with over 11,000 secure nodes in the system. Zencash is also one of the most secure cryptocurrencies in the entire world right now. So go to Zencash.com, learn more about Zencash before you get into it. That's Zencash.com. Ian and Johnson here as we continue. Johnson, you said there was more you wanted to share from the story we started earlier about Orrin Hatch and some other senator type putting forward a piece of legislation to make it a federal crime to do anything whatsoever of violence towards a police officer.
Right. So the article goes on to say, the Senate version makes police a protected class, something that up until now was reserved for marginalized groups because crimes against them, marginalized groups, often went unacknowledged, uninvestigated, and unpunished, unlike crimes against cops, which are clearly always pretty much high profile and always investigated.
Basically every cop
ridiculous vengeance.
Right.
There are no statistics to show that police are in any more danger now than they have previously been. There are no statistics to show that police are being attacked or otherwise harmed at higher rates. There is nothing to back the belief that police need even further special protection under the law. Exactly what constitutes violence against a police officer? Does the manner in which a police officer received injury determine whether or not that particular instance will be viewed as a hate crime? If the police officer goes to grab your arm and you instinctively pull away your nails, accidentally scratching him or her as you do so, are you now guilty of a hate crime against a police officer? How and
Sounds
when?
like it.
Yeah, that's because these are things that have been prosecuted before.
Sure.
How and when will
resisting arrest with violence is what they'll call that. It's a felony.
Yep. How and when will these laws be enforced, and against whom? Kanya Bennett, legislative counsel at the Washington Legislative Office at the American Civil Liberties Union, said in a statement, "This bill serves no purpose other than to further dangerous and divisive narratives." I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble speaking. Other than to further dangerous and divisive narratives that there is a war on police. The House creation of a new criminal statute for offenses against police is superfluous, given the many existing federal and state laws that protect law enforcement officers specifically.
The idea that there's a war on police is as ridiculous as there's a war on Christmas. I mean, they're both completely manufactured, completely fabricated fantasy that the police would, some of them would like you to believe.
Everybody wants to be a victim these days.
Right. They also want this because it makes them easier, makes it easier for them to lobby for a pay increase. There's a war on us cops. We need more money.
Yeah. The Senate's version is nothing short of offensive to historically persecuted and marginalized communities across this country.
Actually persecuted.
Federal hate crime laws were passed to correct the centuries of inaction and injustice that too often was the response to violence based on immutable traits and identities, including...
It's worth pointing out here that hate crime's a bunch of crap. I mean, across the board.
Right, yeah.
That's the opinion of whoever's writing this piece.
This is a statement by... ACLU Legislative Council. Immutable traits and identities, including race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability. This definition, under no possible interpretation, could include being a member of law enforcement. Congress should vote this down quickly and decisively.
Yeah.
The ACLU, along with Human Rights Watch, the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and the NAACP, Legal Defense, and Educational Fund, wrote a letter to the Senate asking that senators oppose the introduction of and co-sponsorship of this bill, writing in part, extending hate crimes protections to law enforcement officers is profoundly inappropriate and misguided proposal for several reasons.
Well, before they get into the reasons, I'd like to point out something here. Hey, this is what happens when you create a new government program, everybody. You think you've got your we need hate crime legislation to protect certain people. Well, guess what? Now the government's going to try to expand the idea of the hate crime to protect their own protecting agents from any further or giving
Give
whoever
them more
attacks
power.
them.
It's just about getting power and money as much as possible.
This is what happens, though, with a government program. Even if you think you've formed the perfect government program, you don't get to implement it.
Right.
You don't get to decide how it's enforced.
This one's a double whammy because it not only will give the police more power, but it will also result in them being able to steal more money from people. You scratched me. Well, you better pay up or
else.
Yeah, or else. First, here's the reasons. Again, they say inappropriate and misguided proposal for several reasons. First, police already have substantial protections under federal and state law, rendering this bill superfluous.
Totally.
Second, hate crimes laws are intended to extend protection to historically persecuted groups that have experienced a history of systemic discrimination based on a personal characteristic.
In my opinion, the police aren't discriminated against enough. I always love it when I hear stories of like a coffee shop owner who refuses service to the cops, but it's very rare that you'll hear about that happening.
Yep. So again, persecuted groups that have experienced a history of systemic discrimination based on a personal characteristic such as race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. Law enforcement officers are not a historically persecuted group.
No, they are the persecutors.
Yeah. Third, this bill signals that there is a war on police, which is not only untrue, but an unhelpful and dangerous narrative to uplift. Fourth, bills similar to Protect and Serve that have been introduced in states around the country, so-called Blue Lives Matter bills.
They would love it if there was a war on the police.
Right.
But by all evidence, there is no war whatsoever. I mean, they jack themselves up with all kinds of military devices and camo gear and helmets and guns and trucks and everything here in Keene, New Hampshire within the last few weeks, and it's insane.
The crazy thing is that, by doing what they're doing, they may be creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The war on police thing?
that a war on police, because of the way they are engaging with people and treating people, they may incite a war on police.
Well, there was that one cop, Chris Dorner, who was shooting other cops after he'd gotten mad about whatever it was, went off the deep end.
Yep.
And then, of course, in their war to stop Chris Dorner, they ended up shooting to death 2 newspaper women who were driving a truck that they thought was similar to Chris Dorner's truck.
We actually knew someone here who was running a site, DornerTruth.com.
Dorner Truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
No longer exists. But
gotcha.
So, again, they say
more reasons.
The Blue Lives Matter bills appear to be a political response to the growing national movement for police accountability in the face of continued killings and assaults of unarmed African Americans.
And everybody else, by the way. I'd like to point that out.
For sure. Therefore, this bill is divisive and will have a negative impact on the relationship between law enforcement and the communities they serve. This one is one to keep an eye on.
Just to clarify for that author, the police aren't there to serve you. They're not there to serve your community. If they do provide a service, it's just sort of because they happen to, like maybe you didn't get the worst cop in the world and he actually did something okay in a certain circumstance. But if they're told to run that Bearcat right through your front door, they're going to do it.
Yeah, that author, as you said, is actually a collaboration between, again, the ACLU, Human Rights Watch, Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and the NAACP, Legal Defense and Educational Fund.
Yeah. I mean, they're not wrong generally in that piece, and I appreciate them putting it out there, so thank you. And by the way, the ACLU here in New Hampshire really does a great job overall. I really like the work that they do. I'll be going to their awards dinner again this year for, the 5th year in a row or something like that. So they're even better, I think, than your typical state ACLU. They tend to be pretty pro-freedom on most all the issues. All right, more coming up here, including we'll talk more about the cops. Another cop was called to a school over a child making a Lego toy gun. We're coming up. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. The toll-free number, if you want to take control of the airwaves, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can also Skype in to join us at Skype username LRN.FM. And there's our Discord on-air call-in line room, which allows you to get on that way and sound really great, almost like you're sitting in the studio here with us. Go to discord.lrn.fm to jump in there. And don't forget, we've also got Twitch, which is the way that we do our primary video stream. We still stream to YouTube, but it's at a low resolution. If you want high-resolution, HD quality video, then jump on over to our Twitch channel. Go to twitch.lrn.fm. That'll take you right to it. And you can follow us on Twitch, which means that whenever we go live, you'll get a notification if you've turned on your notifications. If you've got the app on your phone, it'll ding you there. Or you can get an email notification. It is up to you. So we'd appreciate you following the show. We've got now 300 followers.
So had you monetized any of your YouTube videos ever for that? Or
For the live streams, no.
Okay.
The Free Talk Live, I believe the Free Talk Live, I don't know, there might be monetization on the Free Talk Live channel.
I'm just
whatever
wondering
it is,
if any of them have if you did have videos monetized and how many have been demonetized.
I know a lot of them on the Free Keen channel have,
right,
or reduced monetization or whatever. But that's not really something I'm too concerned with. I mean, to me, it's just a platform to get something out there.
Right.
If it brings something in, I just consider it a bonus, whatever it is. I feel bad for the people who actually were counting on YouTube to make their living, though.
Right.
Like, these producers who put a lot of time and effort into actually making edited videos worthy of.
Well, hopefully
submission.
something like Library or whatever,
Lubry.
Lubbery.
LBRY.
Lubbery.
This is a decentralized crypto-based platform that you're talking about, LBRY, which is lbry.io is their site. And it has recently teamed up, Free Keen teamed up with Library, and we've got the Free Keen videos, which there's like 900 videos from the Free Keen YouTube channel. And the funny thing is, prior to the Library thing happening, I had actually downloaded all of the videos from Free Keen's channel, which is not an easy task, mind you. Because, it's one thing if you got one video you need to download from YouTube. There's all kinds of websites that'll let you do that, like clipconverter.cc. You can go there, pop in the YouTube URL you want to download, and it'll download an MP4 for you. But if you've got 900 videos from a channel that you need to download, that gets pretty complicated. And so I actually had paid for a piece of software that was supposed to be able to sort of ingest an entire YouTube channel. And even it was breaking.
Right.
So, like, I had to keep running the software and, like, select, 100 videos at a time or whatever and try to do those.
Right.
And then hopefully it wouldn't crash. So even though it was paid software, it was still broken. So it took me literally like 2 weeks of just constant like retrying and downloading. And then finally, after I downloaded everything, the idea was I wanted to have a backup copy because my original backup got stolen by the FBI when they raided our studios in 2016. They haven't given it back yet. So I wanted to have another backup copy of the YouTube channel because you never know when YouTube's going to just decide, we're going to wipe your channel out today. So it's nice to have a backup.
I hope that, it'd be nice to see, like, have, like, in a couple of years be like, a call or something like, I was the FBI, agent assigned to have to go through this material, and it changed my outlook on life.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That did kind of happen with one of the jail guards here in Keene years ago, who quit his job over the conversations that he'd had with some of us who were in that jail, some of the liberty activists who had spent some time in there. So anyway, the toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Matthew is in Louisiana, and actually he's watching us on YouTube, so watching the lower resolution version of the show, but we're glad you're there anyway. Go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, well, I appreciate being able to pick you up anytime curious to see what I'm fixing to download to listen to the next day.
Right on.
So a lot of time I hear a lot of conservatives, and these are not necessarily bad people, but they have this misunderstanding that the police are somehow supposed to protect you. And the police put it on the sides of their cars to protect and to serve.
They do?
No. We don't hire the police to protect us. We hire them to enforce the law.
When was the last time you hired a cop?
Well, I didn't really get a whole lot of choice in the matter.
Right.
I recently had to vote for the local shogun down here.
Okay.
And I had a choice between somebody who stunk less bad than the other one from a liberties perspective. So I chose the stunk less bad.
Yeah, you
and
held your
everybody else
nose.
stunk worse.
Yep.
Right.
Gotcha.
Tried to do what you can, but...
But my point being that generally we don't hire the police. They hire the police. You and I don't have any say in which cops get hired and which ones don't. And then they go out on the street and with this, as you said, protect and serve logo on their cars, which is designed to get people to think that they're there to protect and serve you. But they don't actually say that, do they? They don't ever say they're there to protect and serve you. They just say they're there to protect and serve, which in my opinion begs the question of whom are they protecting and serving? And it seems pretty clear that they're protecting and serving the political class.
Well, they're primarily the ones that are responsible for hiring them directly.
Right.
And the political class tells us that they're there for our own good. And a lot of cops get into the business of being cops because they think that they're going to be in the business of doing good.
They do. That's true.
They're very sincere. I remember you used to have a cop who used to call your show, went by the nick of Straight Razor.
Yeah, that's right. He called recently. He called like for the first time in many months. Within the last few months, he called and kind of gave us an update on how he was doing. He's no longer in policing and is in the more productive world.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. You can get pretty cynical doing that job.
I bet.
Because you're asked to do the impossible. And the only thing that happens when you ask people to do the impossible is you get the willy-nilly possible. That's a quote from Robert Heinlein.
It's a good one.
Just recently, here in Jefferson Parish, we had 4 plainclothes sheriff's department detectives who were after some guy who was kind of a small-time, from what I understand, drug dealer, and they said that he was, and they cornered him in a gas station, and he took off running, so they ran after him. They tackled him, and they put him down on the ground, and one of the guys asphyxiated him.
Oh, wow.
Don't think it was intentional, but guess what? I mean, that's still manslaughter, and
not when they do it.
It can still be down here.
Yeah.
We had a SWAT officer in Orleans Parish who accidentally was coming around the staircase, and a boy in his he's a mid-teenager really, in his pajamas, reaching down to pull up his pajama bottom when he saw the cop, and the cop's finger was, of course, on the bang switch, and he pulled the trigger,
man,
and the cop had to admit, this is not what I wanted to do. He went to jail 3 years for manslaughter.
Did he really? That's unusual.
Yeah,
he should have said he was in fear for his life. Then he would have gotten off.
He did say that.
Oh,
but
really?
It was like he said that even though he was in fear for his life, this dude had some honor. He said that even though he was in fear for his life, he basically screwed up. He took the
admitted
ball for
that.
He chose to take responsibility. That's rare.
unusual. Very rare.
Yeah, which is a shame that you would want guys like that to become
right.
when he gets back out to become.
That's
a cop
what happens
again,
with the good cops, man. If there are good cops, they get run right out on a rail. I mean, they can't handle the corruption and they don't want to be there, or something happens to them.
Yeah, well, there's one last thing I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
All of this noise that you hear about Mueller and the special investigation and the FBI and their misbehavior and the Department of Justice, this is having an effect out there in conservative land.
How's
People
that?
are starting to view law enforcement like, wait a minute, maybe they aren't really the good guys.
How are you getting how are you getting that message? Are you actually hearing directly from conservatives who are saying things like that? Or are you hearing it on talk radio? What's cluing you into that?
It's mostly on talk radio. In the morning, the affiliate that carries your show down here, WGSO, they have a wide open First Amendment free-for-all. And the guy who runs the show is a pretty conservative guy. And most of the calls concerning that incident in Jefferson Parish were pretty skeptical about the tactics that these cops used. They were like, this was kind of a little overboard.
Yeah, if anybody's paying attention, it's hard to not really come to these conclusions about the police eventually. If people are actually watching and listening to what the police do and say, then it would be hard to not become a critic and demand accountability. Thanks for the call, Matthew. I appreciate hearing from you. You got to really stick your head in the sand these days to ignore this stuff. More coming up, 855, 450 free. If you want to join us in Hour 3, coming up next.
Were you born before the year 1956? If so, did you know you could be collecting between $575 and $2,200 in tax-free income right now? All thanks to the FHA. Or what about this? Did you know 54 U.S. congressmen have used a special tax-free account to earn up to 35 times more on their money? It's true, and you can do it too. These are just two of the secrets revealed inside a stunning new book from the Palm Beach Research Group and Ted Benna, the man behind the 401k. You'll discover the 18 best cash cows that can help you earn up to an extra $6,800 a month. Just go to 501kbook.com right now. If you're at or near retirement, this book is a must-read. You can get your own free copy. Shipping and handling charges apply. Just go to 501kbook.com right now while there are still copies left. That's 501kbook.com. 501kbook.com. Just go to 501kbook.com right now.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
As a police officer, I constantly live in fear that I might be filmed brutalizing a civilian. It's something you know from the time you're a cadet. The slightest civil rights infraction in front of anyone who's looking, and the next thing you know, you're surrounded by cameras and trending on Twitter. No cop should have to worry about that. Practically every precinct I know has somebody serving desk duty just for acting on deeply rooted prejudices when somebody had a recording device on them. It happened to my partner, and it even happened to our own captain. One day he's just kicking an unarmed pedestrian in the ribs when all of a sudden people with cameras are everywhere, and then they just start shooting what he was doing, all 6 minutes of it. I can't help but think sometimes that could have been me ending up at that desk job. You never know which day of total impunity will be your last, but for a cop, that's just our daily reality.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
We've been talking about some police-related stories here tonight. Some disturbing news out of the federal government. Johnson, you shared with us that there's a proposed piece of legislation that would basically make it a hate crime to get involved in any kind of physical altercation with the police. And it would jack up any kind of potential penalties, which, of course, as the ACLU pointed out, there are already special penalties for attacks against police. In my opinion, there shouldn't be, and the police should not be treated as a special class of human beings. If indeed they are a servant, as they would like you to believe that they are, then why would you put them up on a pedestal, right? They're the servant. Servants are supposed to be told what to do. They are supposed to serve you. And, of course, that's not what they do. They tell you what to do, and they don't serve you. They serve themselves, and they serve their political masters. So we all know they're not servants. That's why they call you subjects. If you ever listen to a police scanner, listen to how they talk about people. Subject is the word that they use. We're not talking about suspects. We're talking about any person who is not a fellow police officer when they're using their radio transmission, lingo or whatever. You're subjects.
Yeah,
who else were subjects in the past?
I don't know. I mean, the subject of a sentence, is
no, I understand that.
And they're talking about the subject of investigation.
Well,
generally.
not always.
Usually.
Not always. It's a word that they use basically to refer to anyone else. Anyone who's not one of them is a subject. Now, yes, you can argue that they are coming at it from the definition of the subject of the person of whom, of which I'm speaking or whatever, but no, I'm sorry. To me, it rings more of like the subject of a king or the subject of, like a serf, that kind of a subject, someone to which you are subjected to their rule over you. Because they're not your servants. They are your masters, and they don't act like servants. In very, very, every now and then you can get them to do something that's actually useful, but a lot of the time they're out there just arresting people like a small child at a New Haven, Connecticut school. Yes, New Haven, Connecticut, the very same city in Connecticut. You used to live in Connecticut, Johnson, so this might ring somewhat familiar to you with the kind of people that live down there. Not a particularly freedom-friendly bunch in Connecticut.
No.
New Haven, I believe that was the very same town that had the old, what was there? They made headlines once because they had a IQ maximum for their police department.
Right.
That's a story that's been passed around quite a bit, to where if you are too smart for the New Haven Police Department, they will tell you you can't have the job that they are trying to fill because they need to have people that are more subjected to authority. They want people who are going to just do what they're told without question. And if you're too smart, you might be more likely to question your circumstances or question the orders that your superiors are giving you. In this case, school officials, according to Fox61.com, said a child built a toy gun out of Legos at the Jepson Magnet School in New Haven on Thursday. School administrators called police to the school after the child made the gun and started pointing it at other kids. Now, I wish we had a picture of the gun made out of Legos, because I know what it was like as a young boy. You know, I'm sure many young males can relate to this. How many of you have gone out into the woods with your friends, picked up a stick, and held it in your hands as though it were a gun? You ever done that, Johnson?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, every boy, like, it's almost as though even if you haven't seen a gun, you know, little boys pick up sticks and hold them in their hands as though they were guns. In this case, I suspect that's about as detailed as this Lego was. Like, I'm envisioning a long plank-style Lego on a few short squat-style Legos, and then putting that in the palm of their hand. Bang, bang!
Yeah. Probably just like, you know, finger guns.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The Lego equivalent of a finger gun. Because the odds that the student managed to make a trigger out of the Lego or a barrel out of the Lego, you know, within a 50-minute time frame or however long classes are these days, just seems pretty preposterous.
Also, how old is this student again?
Let's see. Jepson Magnet School here. I am not clear on what that is. They're calling him a child, but that, of course, is a term that has been used for teenagers before. I'm going to guess this is an elementary level, but that's just a shot in the dark here.
Right.
Jepson. Highest grade, 8th grade, lowest grade, pre-kindergarten. So it's a
pretty
range.
Big range.
Yeah, it's a range. But the police were called. Does that seem like a bit of a unnecessary response?
Over Legos.
Yeah. Do you really need to call the police on this one? Will Clark, the COO of New Haven Public Schools, released the following statement saying, quote, "School leaders and local police partners were able to investigate and resolve the issue internally with use of restorative practices." What do you think that means?
Right.
What's a restorative practice? Appropriate steps were taken at the school level to ensure the safety of all students, because we weren't sure. For a moment, we thought the students might have been unsafe because of this Lego gun. We are ensuring the safety of all students and to impress upon the students the seriousness of engaging in positive peer interactions while avoiding conduct that may pose risk or concern to others. There's no actual risk from a Lego gun, but some people might have been concerned. All children need to feel safe and secure within the learning environment, and we all have a role to play to make that happen. Unquote. No further details were released in the case, and a quick search of Google to see if there are any other more detailed stories. There's nothing. This is a very basic story. Yet another example of what you might call zero tolerance, which is this is something we've been reporting on basically for the entire history of Free Talk Live. I remember doing zero tolerance stories back when we were a local show in Florida. This is a typical government school policy, which basically says, well, anything that resembles a weapon, we're going to consider a weapon. Anything that resembles a drug, it doesn't matter if you gave your son an aspirin, we're going to consider that drug possession. We're just going to go ahead and consider everything as dangerous as it could possibly be and overreact as much as we possibly can, because that teaches kids something important about life. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE.
I found a Breitbart article that has an image of a gun. I don't know if it's the same.
There's no way unless the students smuggled an image out on one of their smartphones. The faculty is not going to take a picture and publish it.
Yeah, this looks like an AR.
No, I saw that one. The one made out of Legos, with different colored Legos in it. Yeah, I saw it. That's not what we're talking about here. They're claiming that this. Well, I guess it doesn't say it was a pistol, does it? It just says toy gun out of Lego. Let's go to Will.
This image is captioned with San Diego Sheriff. So
yeah, previous story. Will in Long Island, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight, Will?
So, the breakdown of our civil liberties regarding, the schools wanting to protect us from every possible danger. It's not just limited to, just weapons or viewing, possibilities of drugs. I mean, it's gone to thoughts, too,
It's a little hard for me to understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Johnson, are you able to understand, Will? It sounds like a little, I don't know if it's jitter or a little muffled. Are you on a cell phone or maybe a headset or something like that?
I'm on a cell phone. I'm on a cell phone, but I hear you guys.
Okay,
fine.
try again. It seems pretty clear now. Go ahead.
Okay. No, but I'm sure you guys are aware of, universities and other schools cracking down on all of our liberties, not just, guns and drugs or anything like that, but even just like thought crime and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
we've heard those stories.
There's plenty of cases of it. Right. Have you guys heard the new story coming out of the University of Michigan over the past week or two?
No, what's this one?
They formed a bias interrogation team, essentially. And what this group does, and it's university sanctioned, is that they take anonymous tips from anyone on the campus regarding any kind of behavior or speech done on Twitter or off campus, on campus, regardless of where it is. And they act as secret police. They will come to your house, knock on your door, and they'll tell you, we're going to kick you out of school unless you stop what you're doing, stop what you're saying, stop, telling anyone what your opinions are on this matter, et cetera, et cetera. And it's gotten to the point where recently why it was in the news is that one student is suing the school.
Hold that thought, Will. We'll look into it a little bit further here. If you want to stick with us, tell us more, you're welcome to. 855-450-FREE, the bias response team. More coming up.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Join us here. The number 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
If you're a libertarian, if you're a voluntarist, if you're a liberty-loving person, if you would be an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you ought to check out liberty.menu. You go there. It is a free website where you can submit content that is your entrepreneurial activities, your business, whatever it is that you do. You can put an entry and a map point up on liberty.menu, and then you might get some new business out of it as other libertarians sort of shop the site looking for other liberty-friendly businesses they can do business with. So if you're willing to kind of wear your beliefs on your sleeve to some extent to announce that you are a liberty-friendly business, then you ought to be up on liberty.menu with the others. Liberty.menu, it's free to use, so you might as well be there. Liberty.menu, and by the way, they've also got digital content listings for content creators and also events listings and more. Go and get all the details, get your account set up, and when you're doing that, you can use code FTL on your account page and get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. That's liberty.menu. We can't give you a discount because it's free. So, there are some upgrades you can pay for if you really want, but the free entries are there, and you can have as many of them as you want. Liberty.menu. As we go back to Will, he's in Long Island, calling regarding the University of Michigan, what they're calling bias response teams. Will, you brought this to our attention here tonight. We had not heard about this. And these are groups of, are they students who are going around trying to intimidate other students?
No.
No?
As far as I know, they are paid faculty members working with students, and they accept any kind of anonymous tips. They don't require any kind of evidence. But if they're notified, hey, this person said something that slightly maybe offends me on Twitter, and that's literally like the guiding guideline, speech that can potentially maybe offend someone or make someone feel uneasy, they will come to your house, knock on your door, and threaten to kick you out of school. Say you have to attend our mandatory adjustment seminars to
re-education camps?
Yeah,
basically
recognize your privilege and, recognize everything else that you've done wrong, all your biases or whatnot. Otherwise, you're kicked out of school.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Was there anything else you wanted to share? I did find a story about it in the Washington Times. We might be able to share that.
Yeah, I think that was the one I read. But no, it's just, the term Orwellian, has been thrown around a lot in the past couple of years, justifiably. I don't think we're there yet, but I think whether or not the court accepts this lawsuit that's going forward against these students at the university.
Yeah, there's a group called Speech First. It is an advocacy group that filed suit against the University of Michigan, challenging the constitutionality of the school's bias response teams and its content-based restrictions on speech. Will, thanks for bringing this to our attention. We'll look a little bit further into it here. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. Absolutely. Nicole Niley is the president of Speech First, said the University of Michigan's attitude toward free speech is representative of the higher education landscape. Quote, biased response teams are fundamentally un-American and have no place on college campuses. We have an epidemic on our hands in the higher education system. Universities are establishing rules and protocols that create a dangerous environment in which free speech protections under the First Amendment no longer exist. Spokesbureaucrat for the University of Michigan declined to comment. The lawsuit says the bias response team has investigated more than 150 expressions of bias since April of 2017. Quote, in connection with these investigations, the BRT has acted aggressively to censor what it considers to be expression of bias. For example, the BRT has taken down signs, removed flyers, confronted faculty members, erased speech on whiteboards, and interrogated students accused of expressions of bias, whom the university calls offenders. The lawsuit argues the determination of bias is completely subjective, citing the university's declaration that the, quote, most important indication of bias is your own feelings, unquote, and that bias-related incidents, quote, do not always result in unfair treatment that violates non-discrimination laws. Under this regime, the lawsuit contends the most sensitive student on campus effectively dictates the terms under which others may speak. So if somebody's offended, then you're biased. And the bias response team may be knocking on your door. There are also signs the state of free expression at the university is trending in the wrong direction. The university announced last month it would amend its Statement of Student Rights and Responsibilities to prohibit, quote, bias-related misconduct, unquote. Speech First believes this will have a, quote, profound chilling effect on protected expression because the utter lack of clear notice about the line between permissible and prohibited conduct. So yeah, basically you're going to make it so people are afraid to say anything because they'll be afraid that they will come across, if they say something that somebody considers to be biased, that they'll be possibly kicked out of school.
My feels are more important than your ability to think.
Indeed. Or have your thoughts challenged in any way, shape, or form, which is, my understanding, and I'm not somebody who actually went to one of these colleges, but it was always my understanding that colleges were supposed to be these bastions of free speech, and they are anything but that. These days.
Found a graphic here from the Bentley University Bias Response Team.
Oh, there's more than one of these things.
Yeah, they're apparently all over. The Bias Incident Response Team ensures students affected by bias or bias-related incidents have access to appropriate resources and assists the university in its response to situations that may impact the overall campus climate around diversity and inclusion.
So by access to appropriate resources, they mean the ability to snitch, right? They need to have a hotline they can call to, use anonymous tips against their neighbors that they don't like. Speech First is a member organization that represents students at colleges across the nation. Plaintiffs in Tuesday's lawsuit, which was filed in the U.S. District Court in Michigan, are students who attend the University of Michigan. A sophomore quoted in the suit said free speech is permitted on campus, quote, only if your ideals align with those that the university has imposed upon us. In other words, people have their right to freedom of speech and expression, but only until their beliefs no longer align with these so-called correct beliefs. Then people are not allowed to freely express those opinions. And another student acknowledged hiding their political views and opinions from nearly everyone I've encountered here at the university out of fear of reprisal. A third student recounted being called a racist for simply supporting Donald Trump. Quote, I was talking to a friend in the hallway who also supported Donald Trump, and someone was listening into our conversation. After about 30 seconds of my friend and I having a private discussion, we were both called racists, which is simply not true. Now, it's one thing for somebody to call you a racist. It's another thing for them to be able to take some sort of action within the university and have you punished.
The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health describes a bias-related incident or discrimination as any incident in which you feel that you have been treated unfairly because of any aspects of your identities, including race, color, body size, religion, creed, national origin, ancestry, age, veteran or military status, disability, military service, or other protected status, like maybe whether or not you're a police officer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the level of protection for feelings that they're trying to, inculcate in these college students, hello, it doesn't exist in the real world. You post something that somebody doesn't like on the internet and there's comments, you're going to get some nasty comments.
Identity politics are garbage.
We'll come back with more here on the bias response teams. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our toll-free number, 855.
I'm unique.
450
I'm special.
You are, though. 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. And if you want to critique us, or be mean, you are welcome to do so. It's open phones all the time.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves here, bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733, or Skype in. You can Skype in at username LRN.FM, or you can join us on the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. So feel free to hop in. Whichever way you want to join the discussion, it is completely up to you. Now, if you want to get some really awesome deals on the internet, we recommend using SaveItPurse.com. I recently got a graphics card for one of the studio computers, and I was like kind of in a rush, so I put it at 15%, because getting graphics cards has actually been pretty hard if you set it at a high discount, because when you're on SaveItPurse.com, you actually get to choose your discount. You can do up to 33% off, and there was a graphics card I tried buying before, and I'd put it at 33%, and nobody was buying it just because it was just too much of a discount.
Right.
What happens is you're putting your bid in on what you want to pay, the discount you want on the products that you want, and then the market decides whether or not somebody wants to actually pay for essentially your Bitcoin. Because what's happening is you're putting up your Bitcoin, and somebody is willing to pay 33% more than the cost of a Bitcoin to get your Bitcoin, and the way they get it is by buying the thing for you on Amazon, if that makes any sense at all. So if there's nobody who's willing to pay 33% on top of Bitcoin, then you're not going to get 33% off. So usually if you shoot for like 20%, it's usually going to get bought for you within a day. 15% got me within hours. Somebody had purchased this thing for me, and it's awesome, man. I mean, everything I buy through Amazon, I get at least 15 to 20% off. And if I'm not in a rush, I'll set it at 25 to 30-ish% and just sit back and wait and see if somebody picks it up over the next few weeks. And a lot of the times, they do. So if you want to save big time, you have to be willing to spend Bitcoin, because you can't use dollars for this. It's just not an option. It's just not the way Save It Purse works. SaveAtPurse.com. That's SaveItPurse.com.
Actually, doesn't Save It Purse now do Bitcoin Cash?
No, they don't.
Well? Okay.
No, they do have. They've had Shapeshift integration to where you could use Bitcoin Cash through Shapeshift, but ultimately that just means they're taking Bitcoin. I
thought that they were heading in the Bitcoin Cash direction, but
there's been questions about whether or not that's going to happen, and I don't know if they've released an official position on that. So it's a good question. As of the last time I checked, they didn't have that.
Right.
But of course, we are seeing Bitcoin Cash crop up in a lot of places. And this
March 23rd, Bitcoin apparently Purse announced that they're adding Bitcoin Cash support as we talk.
Okay. I don't think it's there yet, though.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But apparently they're in the process.
So they're planning on it. Okay, they're working on it. Good to know. So we're talking about the state of free speech on college campuses. Actually, I did not know about this story until one of our callers just happened to bring it to our attention about the bias response teams, which apparently aren't just a thing at the University of Michigan. Johnson, you found multiple other instances of these so-called bias response teams, which are basically groups of students and or staff. It's not clear exactly who makes up these BRTs, who will come and remove speech from various different platforms and poster boards and wherever it is they find it, that as long as somebody is offended, then it's considered biased.
I'm just immediately thinking of, there was a meme that went around the internet for a while, Evil Bert. And just this seems like that. There's a, Bert from Bert and Ernie.
Or Bert. I thought you said Bart. Okay, I thought you said Bart like Bart Simpson.
Bert, like from Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
BIRT, bias incident response team. Bert, just Evil Bert.
Make him their
comes
character.
to mind.
Their mascot. The Wisconsin Supreme Court heard arguments, this is from the Washington Times, last month between Marquette University and John McAdams, a professor of political science who was suspended and barred from campus and then had his spring classes canceled after he wrote a blog post criticizing a graduate instructor. That instructor had told students that it was inappropriate to argue against same-sex marriage because it might be offensive to others. According to an audio recording of the class, Mr. McAdams, who's a conservative, published his criticisms on his personal blog called Marquette Warrior, which he has maintained since 2002. Marquette is a private Jesuit university, cited a policy that prohibits professors from criticizing students by name in public forums. It also pointed to hateful messages that the graduate instructor received in emails and online comments after the blog was published. Mr. McAdams was required to recant his blog post and apologize in order to be reinstated. Boy, nothing like a forced apology. He refused and sued the university, arguing they violated his employment contract and academic freedom. Young Americans for Freedom also filed a lawsuit against Kennesaw State University, a public school in Kennesaw, Georgia. That student group accused the university of engaging in viewpoint discrimination by charging security costs to bring a conservative speaker to campus and denying the group funds to help offset those costs. The university said there's a little more controversy surrounding the event. That is a conservation with town hall editor that would require the presence of security officers. Anyway, this goes on, with more examples of ridiculous oppressions of freedom of speech. And look, why even bother going to college these days anyway? I mean, is there really a benefit to it? Is there really going to be something that you get out of it?
You learn how to, manage your finances so that you can possibly get out of crippling debt.
No, you don't.
Well,
in college?
No, not in college. You learn that after.
Oh, afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So you learn by trial by fire, basically,
Yes, yeah.
sink or swim kind of thing in that case. So yeah, I'm a huge critic of the college system. It seems to me for a lot of people who are going to it to be a complete waste of time and money. I guess if you're going to have someone else pay for it for you, it's probably not the worst thing in the world to do if you've got it covered. But otherwise, man, what a just a center of drama,
right?
And unnecessary conflict. Whereas you could just be in the workplace learning real skills that you can actually utilize to possibly make more money in the long run. Call me a critic. Anyway, the toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In other news, Johnson, tomorrow looks like net neutrality might be raising its ugly head once again. As you may have,
they just won't let it go.
Yeah, as you may recall, net neutrality, there was all this hubbub during the Obama administration about it. And they put it in, I think, into effect in, 2015?
Right.
It wasn't that long ago. And the claim was that if we don't have net neutrality, which is essentially government-mandated packet on the internet being treated the same. So the idea was that internet companies...
A real net neutrality law would be to say that the licensing fees for getting on getting on the polls are zero.
Yeah,
All
they didn't do
local
that.
governments. National level, they need to say they need to have a law against, taking away government regulation.
That would help.
Rather than adding new ones. People don't seem to be able to figure this out. New government regulations don't equal freedom ever.
Oh, but Johnson,
removing them does.
If you just have the right government regulations imposed by the right bureaucrats, then that could help freedom.
Right.
Because it's always worked out really well.
My guy will do it better.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. If they had actually rolled back regulations and made it easier to be an internet service provider and actually increased competition in the area of internet service providing, which is what you proposed would do, that would actually be helpful. But unfortunately, no, they've added more rules. And that's what net neutrality was. It was a government mandate forcing the existing internet service providers to treat all packets equally and do nothing, supposedly do no such thing as like throttling specific websites, slowing down some sites and favoring other sites that might be paying or whatever. So now across the board, or during net neutrality, across the board, every packet, which is a little bit of data, is supposed to be treated equally by their routers and such. And then come the Trump administration, they decided Trump FCC became Republican-controlled, so it had been Democrat-controlled during Obama. The Republican-controlled FCC, which to their credit has actually done some slashing of regulations. They actually have undone certain regulations, at least in the broadcast industry that we're in, and that's a good thing because fewer regulations mean maybe more players in the market, more competition, at the very least less burdensome hoops to jump through to do things like run radio stations or whatever. But one of the other things they got rid of, which was one of the most controversial, was they got rid of net neutrality by simply voting to get rid of it in the same way that they voted to put it in place. Well, now the U.S. Senate is going to be weighing in, and they're going to try to bring back net neutrality even though the FCC decided they did not want to have it anymore. So they will likely try to force it upon them. Will they have the votes to do it? Tomorrow's going to be the day that we find out. There's more coming up here. If you want to share your thoughts, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Whether you want to comment on net neutrality, ridiculous colleges, or whatever's on your mind, it goes here on Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Were you born before the year 1956? If so, did you know you could be collecting between $575 and $2,200 in tax-free income right now? All thanks to the FHA. Or what about this? Did you know 54 U.S. congressmen have used a special tax-free account to earn up to 35 times more on their money? It's true, and you can do it too. These are just two of the secrets revealed inside a stunning new book from the Palm Beach Research Group and Ted Benna, the man behind the 401k. You'll discover the 18 best cash cows that can help you earn up to an extra $6,800 a month. Just go to 501kbook.com right now. If you're at or near retirement, this book is a must-read. You can get your own free copy. Shipping and handling charges apply. Just go to 501kbook.com right now while there are still copies left. That's 501kbook.com. 501kbook.com. Just go to 501kbook.com right now.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain, enough time for you if you want to join us here. Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
Don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Hey, if you enjoy the show, you like what we do on Free Talk Live, then please become a Free Talk Live amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is you send $5 a month into the show. We invest it into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country and bring new internet listeners on board as well, exposing new people to the ideas of freedom. So if you like what we do, you like the fact that we're on 185 plus radio stations around the country, you want to see us hit 300, 400 stations. Someday it could be possible, but it does take some marketing to do that, and the AMP program helps us with that.
Speaking of marketing, they also like and want to support and promote what we do. They can buy official Free Talk Live merchandise.
That's correct. And then you can advertise for us on your shirts.
That's right.
And you can get those over at libertyminded.com. What's the latest over there at Liberty Minded, Johnson?
I have not had time. I've been working on I've been
got a different website.
Putting together a different website that I'm putting on. I'm a graphic designer, and I've been putting together my portfolio, which I've never really had all together in one place. I've never really kind of presented the work that I've done. I'm not a big self-promoter for the most part. I'm not good at it. I don't generally like to do it. So it's been a struggle. Somebody has to do it, and I'm kind of trying to figure out how to start doing that a lot more so that I'm taking care of myself a little bit better.
So you haven't had time to design new shirts, but you're still packing orders if somebody orders.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm packing orders right away. And also I have been brainstorming. So, hopefully once I get some more time in, I will have a flurry of new
I saw your brainstorming sheet a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, you definitely have some ideas in the hopper, so to speak. Go to libertyminded.com. Not only can you get Free Talk Live officially branded gear, but also you can get some pretty cool liberty-oriented and cryptocurrency-oriented T-shirts and hats and such over there. Yes. Libertyminded.com. And you do accept a variety of cryptocurrencies.
Yes, I do, yeah.
On the site. Plus PayPal?
Yeah.
Credit card?
Yep.
Okay. libertyminded.com for that. And then again, the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. You'll get some cool perks if you're in the AMP program. And some of those perks include the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only chat rooms on our Discord server, and more. Go get all the details at amp.freetalklive.com. We can talk more about net neutrality, but first, it's Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Johnson.
Yes, so we have this bike share program. But it got
what?
So
bike
popular.
share?
They what it is it's a bicycle provided by the city, and all you do is you need a credit card. I never rode it because the bicycles are just too big for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all one side. I'm only 5 foot, so there's no way I could ride that bicycle. But it's so popular. I was downtown, and they got a whole. I don't know if they started with a 150 bike. Now they seem like they got 300 or 500 bicycle.
Now, how does it work? Do you know? You said you have to have a credit card?
You got to have some kind of a credit card number and an ID or something like that, some kind of number that lets you loan it out. But the city fixes it, maintains it, and you just pay for the time that you use it, and then you just bring it back. It's I'm trying to figure out really how it works. But it is a very popular program.
So it's not one of those things where you can kind of check the bike out and then like leave it at a different location. You have to bring it back to where you checked it out from?
Well, I think if there's a rack that accommodates it, even if it's a different location, it has to have a particular rack that it locks in and it registers the bike.
See, now, if this was actually a good idea, then why wouldn't somebody just do it in the marketplace to, like, I don't know, make money on it?
They probably are, actually.
Yeah, but she said the city's running it.
Well, the city is maybe
contracting
from a place called a company called Zagster, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the name. Zagster. Did it start in Germany? That sounds like a German name.
It does
Zagster.
Sound like, yeah. So what you're saying is they've hired this company to provide this service, is the idea? The company
yeah, that's right. So it's $90 minutes for free, and then $3 per hour after that.
But you got to swipe a credit card in order to unlock the bike.
Yep.
In case you end up taking it to a chop shop or something like that,
That's
or trying
right.
to steal it. Is it GPS protected, I wonder, or is it just, they trust you to get it back where it's supposed to go?
I don't know.
I wonder how they actually keep track of these things. Sarah, thanks for the interesting call. So you're saying you can't use it though because you're too short.
Right, yeah, because how could my feet doesn't even touch.
Don't most bikes have adjustable seats?
Adjustable seat. The seat itself should be adjustable. There's probably a little lever that you can lower the seat.
You do know how to ride a bike, right?
Yeah, but that only accommodates of a certain height. You have to be like 5'7" to about 6 foot to adjust the seat.
Oh.
But I'm very petite, like I'm 5 foot. So it's not, there's no way you could adjust the seat.
Oh, you're 5 foot. Okay, I thought you said you were 5'5".
No, I'm 5 foot.
Oh yeah, you are pretty small then. Yeah, you got to get on a kid's bike or something like that. But yeah, that is an interesting program, Sarah. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. I mean, it's just, I guess you would need the government's permission because probably a lot of the land is owned by government in a downtown area, and that's likely where they're putting these racks.
Right.
So it's probably something that even if it was actually this company that pushed for this to happen, they probably had to do it in tandem with the city.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it was the city that approached the company or vice versa. I'm not sure how that all panned out.
I just imagine, because we're talking about a bike story, like literally you have to rent a bike and then you're in the front seat pedaling and then someone, like a bureaucrat, is riding on the back. It's a tandem bike. You're in tandem with the city.
Ugh. Have you ever ridden one of those?
Tandem bike?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I have, but
remember.
I'm not really sure.
You'd remember.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm remembering that I've ridden one of those like weird tricycle bikes with a basket before, but I think I have ridden a tandem bike once, but I don't know. I'm not really like sure. It would have been like when I was very young.
Yeah. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. Tomorrow, the U.S. Senate will be voting on whether to reverse direction on net neutrality and bring it back. Advocates of keeping the 2015 so-called open internet rules have the backing of 50 U.S. senators, including a Republican. And with the absence of Senator John McCain because of illness, they believe they will win on a 50 to 49 vote. The effort does still face an uphill battle. It's uncertain if the Republican-controlled U.S. House will even vote on the issue, and the White House backs federal communication rules approved last December. The FCC repealed the rules that were set under Barack Obama, as we had explained, again, making it so that all packets were treated equally. And a lot of it was based on, in my opinion, fear. Just straight up fear that the internet companies are going to charge more for service to different websites or whatever. And there just didn't really seem to be a whole lot of evidence of that actually happening. Now, I agree that the internet world is a very limited competition world, wherein, like here in Keene, New Hampshire, we've got cable modem, we've got DSL, and there's government-supplied fiber. And that's pretty much it. I guess you can include 4G. So there's a handful of options. Plus, if you want satellite, but who really wants that? So there's a handful of like decently competitive options, but there's still a handful. It's still not just one option. And so I still think that even though it's a limited marketplace, you still are going to have that competitive aspect of one company is going to want to advertise themselves as, hey, we're the net neutrality company. We're not filtering packets. We're not restricting packets. Come use our service. You'll get the fastest internet, and you won't have any restrictions. So I think the market was going to handle that, and the market had handled it. Because up until 2015, when net neutrality was put into place, were there any issues with this happening? Had you ever come across this?
Right.
Notably?
No. Yeah.
No. Senate Democratic leader Charles Schumer said the issue will energize voters in November's congressional elections, where a number of lawmakers in President Donald Trump's Republican Party may be vulnerable. So apparently on Thursday, the FCC said the Obama net neutrality rules will expire June 11th. Oh, I didn't realize that. For all the caterwauling, right? Like after the net neutrality thing was supposedly ended, back when the FCC voted on it in December, well, apparently it wasn't actually ending until June 11th. So like there was all this shouting about how the internet was going to go dark or whatever, and oh my God. Well, it hasn't even gone away yet, but who can really tell the difference? Who can tell the difference between net neutrality and non-net neutrality day in, day out? It's frustrating, but we'll see what happens tomorrow with the big vote, and whether it will go anywhere outside of the Senate is another question. And, of course, you can join us tomorrow night for more Free Talk Live. Meanwhile, don't forget, over on Johnson's website, you've got libertyminded.com for official Free Talk Live gear and more. And don't forget the AMP program to help us bring Free Talk Live to more ears at amp.freetalklive.com. Between now and tomorrow night, conversations continue in the Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm, where some of our listeners like to get into the voice chat rooms, where you can actually talk to one another if you don't care for the texting chat that does go on most frequently. Discord.lrn.fm. We'll see you tomorrow. It's Free Talk Live. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is William Chambers. Now a retired insurance salesman, Chambers is just one of over 95% of grandfathers who, according to a new report from the Center of Business Intelligence, secured their first and only job by walking right up to the owner of a business and asking for a position right then and there.
I slammed my fist on the desk and said, "I'm your man." He stood right up. He shook my hand and he said, "You come in first thing Monday morning."
According to the report, nearly 36% of grandfathers claimed that they found employment by entering a local business with nothing but a nickel in their pockets and a shirt on their backs. 24% saw a fine-looking marquee for a business and said, "Someday my name's going to be on that sign." And 40% of grandfathers said they snuck into the CEO's office and said, "Mr. McKinley, sir, I'm your guy."
It just took gumption. You didn't need some fancy internship. Looking the boss dead in the eye and showing him you were a man. That was your internship.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah! No fear here. No fear here. No fear here. On Declare your independence. Me, Ernest Hancock in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedom's with an S, FreedomsPhoenix.com. Well, what shall we talk about today? All right. In the third hour, we have a gentleman named Jeff Hewitt. He's running for its campaign for Riverside County Supervisor. Now, what was interesting, why I wanted to talk to him, is he was recommended by Boomer Shannon, which is a gentleman I know in the Libertarian Party out of California that is just, future of a bunch of stuff. So I'm, conventions coming up. This is a high-profile campaign he's working on there, and he's been a city councilman, kind of libertarian, and kind of we'll find out how libertarian. And he's in his 60s. You know, I mean, he's a mature guy. He's been city council and so on. He's running for, he's moving up. So we'll check him out, see what's up. You know, what's the future? I don't know. But, you know, we got, these are the stories that we'll be working on today. You know, we're going to get caught up on some stuff. There's doctors who discovered cancer enzymes in vaccines all found murdered. You know, that's going. You mean they're they're making us sick with these vaccines mandated by the government and no liabilities for the pharma, and then it makes you, you know, a lifetime customer because you mean like that? I mean that they wouldn't do that. That'd be wrong. So anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit. I just want to get that in. Israel kills like dozens, you know, wounds like thousands, massacre. What was going on? Well, the U.S. opened its Jerusalem embassy. See, it was in Tel Aviv, and just because Trump wanted to make a point, is the U.S. embassy moved to Jerusalem. Well, Jerusalem's not going to be counted. Jerusalem, we got Jerusalem going to whip ass on some Arabs in Jerusalem. So this is, and Israel, man, they got the green light from somebody. They are just laying waste to what's really going on is they're trying to make life in Palestine, West Bank, the Gaza Strip as intolerable as possible. Just leave. We don't just go. It's not going to get better. We got bulldozers and stuff. We're just go. You're on our go, and getting away with it. Looks like in the history there was now we'll talk about that next segment. We'll get into this Israel thing because the third rail Israel. You need to know what's up. Then we have on the site Yemen for beginners. What's up with Yemen. I remember we had Scott Horton on. Get Scott on. Go ahead and try and get Scott. Scott Horton used to come on like every other Friday or something, and he got heavy duty in finishing his book on Afghanistan. And I remember, I'm always going at him saying, look, man, you need to Yemen. I mean, I can feel this coming. Yemen. And he just didn't want to talk about it. And he was busy with the other stuff. Well, now he's on it now, man, because he's like, it's all Yemen. And so if you understand what's going on there and this proxy war with everybody, it's really about Iran, Russia, China kind of stuff. It's mostly Iran. And I never really understood why. And it's nothing more complicated than they resisted. They got out of the fold. They were our bitch, and now they're not. And damn it. And it always starts somewhere, and they just don't want it to start. What happens when you open your own oil bourse? A bourse means purse. It's like I think it's French. It's a exchange, a commodity exchange. Well, Iran opened their own and then started taking euros, and now it's gold, crypto, whatever, I don't know, for oil. And there's some pipeline stuff going on. We have some stories this weekend really starting to break. And then, of course, you got, the QAnon thing. We'll go on about the QAnon thing, too. We've been putting up that recently from some pressure, but I'm not digging it. I've seen this before. It's just another psyop. It's the other side or some side of the side and get you to, no trust in Trump because we got, drain the swamp. And we're going to, yeah, whether you are or not, this is, I'm not a fan of this method. It's all that deep throat and secret. And then is it compromised? Did they get the channel or is it really this same guy, or is it a group of guys, and then you got the other guys that are talking about the guy, and I'm just like, wow. And, and I will try and get some of these guys on, but anyone that's really got any kind of track, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to, it's just, shut up, trust in Trump. I don't mind the using this information or analyzing it or doing, but just, it's almost religious, whenever in doubt, just believe. Shut up and believe. Shut up and believe. That's Keith McAnarchist. He's famous for saying that. He's just, you ask, well, how come he goes, shut up and believe. Shut up and believe. QAnon is definitely a shut up and believe. And I've always, steered away from that. It's just, no, I get to ask questions. I tell you where I saw it. I haven't told this story in a while. This is interesting. When Charles and I were doing the Charles Goyette show and I was producing, there was right after we did the land invasion into Iraq. I started doing radio in February of 2003, and I think the land invasion was like March, April, And we were just screaming, this is going to go bad. And at the time, there was a big push for the just war doctrine. Now, how that was being manifested, you had the faith-based initiatives. This came out of George Bush's administration, W. Now, www.warmonger.com, Bush, he, both of them, but what he did is he goes, we're going to have this faith-based initiative. We can get more done through the churches and voluntary kind. You know what we're going to do? Instead of it being voluntary and the people and responsibility, just let you do it, peace out. We're going to fund it. We're going to help. We're going to, give you a little something on the side here and justify it as it being you're going to do it more efficiently or whatever. And then what happens is there's a trade-off. Tell you what, we give you this money over here. We get your database over there. So this was all about databases. And, say the church we were going to, a lot of this is why I just couldn't, go to church to hear lies. I just couldn't do it. No. Then we go in, we just stay in the coffee lounge and hang out and watch on TV or something. It was called Hebrews. Little coffee thing at church. And then that just got to be too much too. I just couldn't. So we did church services here for years, with Pastor Chuck Baldwin. I wouldn't mind doing that again. We just kind of got out of it, busy and stuff, but 15 gazillion kids. But I just, I don't have a problem with that. But the faith-based initiative, let me write that down. I want to tell you about this story when we come back. And you'll see how this plays out. Faith-based initiative. And that goes into some other stuff. Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
God, there's so much news. All right, let's go ahead and do the faith-based initiative thing so I can, you can, God, just enough experience, just life, and you see what's coming. This is what's coming. All right. The White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, that's what this thing was called. The White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, formerly the White House Office of Faith-Based and Community Initiatives, is an office within the White House office that is part of the Executive Office of the President of the United States of America. Under George W. Bush, it was established by George W. through an executive order. God, man, it's amazing what they can get done. January 29th, 01, representing one of the key domestic policies of Bush's campaign, promise of compassionate conservatism. The initiative sought to strengthen faith-based and community organizations and expand their capacity to provide federally funded social services, with the idea having been that these groups were well situated to meet the needs of local individuals. As Texas governor, Bush had used the charitable choice provisions of the 96 welfare reform, which allowed faith-based entities to compete for government contracts to deliver social services to support the work of faith-based groups in Texas. Critical in social services, community service with healthcare financing, is the overall effort and effect of combined budgets and finance in these areas representing established religions in the U.S. The office was briefly led by Don Willett, an aide from Bush's tenure as governor of Texas, who later appointed justice of the Supreme Court of Texas. Damn. The first person named as director was John DeLulio, the University of Pennsylvania political science professor. DeLulio later left the office and became a critic of the Bush administration. Critics of the Office of Faith-Based whatever, including the critics of this faith-based initiative thing, including Americans United for Separation of Church and State, American Civil Liberties Union, assert that it violated the Establishment Clause by using tax money to fund religion. They also argue that the faith-based initiatives were used as part of electoral strategies to yield more votes for Bush and the GOP. They wouldn't do that. Okay. Well, that's what was really going on. And this is all about, well, here, let me just almost done here. Let's finish this up. For fiscal year 05, more than $2.2 billion in competitive social service grants were awarded to faith-based organizations between fiscal years 03 and 05, and the total dollar amount of all grants awarded to FBOs, faith-based organizations, increased by 21%. Let's see. The majority of these grants were distributed through state agencies to local organizations in the forms of formula grants, blah, blah, blah. Now, under Barack Obama, he appointed someone to oversee it and had advisory council and the one-year term, and the council, had and they did and different stuff. Now, under Donald Trump, this was, it looks like, this was they're very critical of the faith-based initiative thing. And when Obama got in 08, thought it would just go away. Well, no. Hillary was, sitting at all these, they had these faith-based dinners and, things for all these different organizations come in. And that's, you knew what was coming because she was sitting at the table with everybody and kind of, glad handing them, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going, yeah, they're not going to get rid of this thing. Well, Donald Trump. The office has not officially been abolished by President Donald Trump, but a director has yet to be named, and the website is no longer available. So he's not using it or doing something with it or whatever, but that could change at any moment. Now, this is what happened. This is the point that I wanted to make on the faith-based initiative. It was a GOP thing. It was another strategy, pick us, God loves Republicans. And as far as they, let you know. So what Charles Goyette and I did at my church, there was a Bible study that they had based on the just war doctrine. The just war doctrine is likelihood you'll win. It's biblical. It's you got to do it. It has to be done or something. But I remember it had to be just. It was a good justification for it, but you had to be able to win it. I mean, that was, you just don't go out for, to die. Let me go ahead and pull that up, Just War Wiki, and I bet you it'd give you a good thing. Because what they did is they used this faith-based initiative to go ahead and get the men, the men. They got to decide for the family of the men, shut them women up and the men, and it was a 16-week, 4-month thing, at least 12 weeks. A 3-month, it might have been a 4-month thing. I think it was 16. And what it was is there was a class that you went, a Bible study every week. It was, Wednesday night or something like that. You go over to somebody's house or deacon this or a guy doing whatever. And it was good friends of mine. And Charles Goyette and I went, I said, look, this faith-based thing, I'm telling you, I can see what they're doing with it. This faith-based initiative and this just war doctrine and all. It's manifesting itself in the churches. They're bringing the men out of the church, going over to the home, and they're just pounding you. And I they're starting this up, and I think we should go. Let's go. And my man Charles even asked about it. I said, hey man, you want to go? Let's go. So the just war theory is a doctrine also referred to as a tradition of military ethics studied by military leaders, theologians, ethicists, and policymakers. The purpose of the doctrine is to ensure war is morally justifiable through a series of criteria, all of which must be met for a war to be considered just. The criteria are split into two groups: right to go to war and right conduct in war. The first concerns the morality of going to war, and the second, the moral conduct within the war. Recently, there have been calls for the inclusion of a third category of just war theory, dealing with the morality of post-war settlement and reconstruction. Just war theory postulates that war, while terrible, is not always the worst option. Important responsibilities, undesirable outcomes, or preventable atrocities may justify war. Opponents of just war theory may be either inclined to a stricter pacifist standard, proposing that there has never
been or never will be a justifiable basis for war, or toward a more permissive nationalist standard, proposing that a war need only serve a nation's interest to be justifiable. Oh, yeah. In a large number of cases, philosophers